The Zed to Zed Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Zed to Zed Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Zed to Zed, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. Another full crew. Hey, this might be becoming a regular thing. We wax philosophically over the superness of heroes and people in real life. Prepare for me to enter the world of Mass Effect and try and break down what the heck constitutes a completion. You can find show notes for this show as well as previous shows on our website, zzUrbanSpaceman.com. This is episode 62. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter at zzUrbanSpaceman, over at our forums, forum.zzUrban.com, or email us directly, contact@zzUrban.com. Today's show is brought to you by the achievement Bonus Soda Master from the game Soda Drinker Pro. This achievement was suggested by Foo Foo Cuddly Poof via Twitter, and his comment was, "You guys talk about soda way too much to not have been sponsored by Soda Drinker Pro, and by no means is that a bad thing." The achievement itself is a bit of a grind. You need to collect 1,000 bonus sodas. The TA solution by Bronage JCal suggests that you go to level 80, the bowling alley, and grind this thing out. You run down to the end of the alley and collect the 12 bonus sodas at the end of the lane. There was a comment made by Crazy that suggests if you walk slowly into them, they can occasionally double count. So that'll make things go a little faster. Bronage claims that it takes about 28 seconds for you to collect and reload as one cycle. So if you go at this with a little bit of progress, you're looking at about 30 to 40 minutes of grinding, which is about 60 to 80 rinse and repeats. Special thanks to developer and publisher SnowRunner Productions. And if you, our fantastic listeners, have a suggestion for an achievement sponsor, let us know. Of course, there's Twitter at zzUrbanSpaceman. You can come chat with us over at our Discord channel, discord.me/Z2Z. Or that email, of course, contact@zzUrban.com. You know, you can even leave it in a podcast or iTunes review post. All right, everybody, we have another packed show for you this week. I am excited. This is great that we get everybody involved. Although, Damien, are you on borrowed time?
No, our eyes are still shut. We're good for right now.
Just hold them down with your fingers.
What could go wrong?
That works, right? Yeah. That works, right? So, of course, Damien, there he is. You hear Prue laughing there. How you doing, Prue?
Let me go check if Prue-mate's eyes are still shut, and I'll tell you. I think I'm good for a little while, too. So
wonderful.
All tucked in.
Yeah.
Got his bottle.
Yep. Yeah, I told him his favorite bedtime story, and hopefully he stays down. You know, fingers crossed. But
pinch his nose shut.
Just hope Google can look after him while you're recording.
I hope so. Yeah.
There you go. And Randy's in the house. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing okay today.
Good. That's actually probably the most positive thing I've heard you say in a long time.
Well, I got a job interview.
Whoa! Wow. Exciting.
Whoa. Hey. That's exciting.
First step. All right.
For the, fourth time or something?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. It got to rain a little bit.
And we also got Tarragon here. How you doing, Tarragon?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. There's not much going on. I've been playing a lot of Elite this week, so I'm not sure I've got a lot to talk about. But
Prue said you're eating poison. Is that true?
Yes, I am literally eating poison.
It's poison flavor.
Yep.
Yeah, it is poison as well. It comes from Australia, of course.
Okay, so we've got this thing here in the States. Actually, they make it here in Minnesota, called Wily Wallaby Licorice. Have any of you guys familiar with this? Anybody?
No.
Bueller? I think you've mentioned this Australian-style licorice before, and I'm kind of curious. I want you to send me some, because I've got absolutely no idea what that means.
Yeah, and the same things in Canada. They call it, it's like, I don't know, some Australia, it's called soft eating licorice. I don't know what other kind of licorice there is, but it's specific.
There is hard licorice, but yeah, I wouldn't have thought that's spelling specific to
is it not
Australia.
Like, Is hard licorice not for eating?
No, that's for laying down to poison rats.
Right.
Because of poison.
Yes, it's licorice, so it should not be consumed by people. But whatever.
Well, I guess that's why they have to specify. It's eating licorice, not poison licorice.
Yeah.
It's just poison flavor licorice.
So anyway,
but no, they're in like little sticks. They come in 4 different flavors. I think there's poison, strawberry, mango, and green apple.
Poisonous, not quite as poisonous, and the least poisonous.
And scorpion level, I think. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you though, Tarragon. This is like the best licorice I've ever eaten. So and if it's just regular licorice for you, we have to find a way to get this.
It's probably not Twizzlers.
Twizzlers
is not licorice.
But that being said, I will pound a pull and peel like nobody's business. I love those things.
They're good, and red vines are delicious as well.
Oh, you people! Oh,
what about Swedish fish?
Not they don't. Yeah, but I don't want the black licorice ones. I mean, I'll eat them, but the red ones are the way to do.
Are okay because there's just like a little hint of poison, and mostly plastic.
I'm gonna embarrass my wife.
Plastic
She uses
flavor with a hint of poison.
Where do you guys stand? Where do you stand with black jelly beans?
It's just as bad. My wife uses Good and Plenty's as a laxative, let's say. That's my opinion of licorice. That's
actually,
all it's good
licorice,
for. Like
licorice
coffee.
actually does act as a laxative if you take high doses of it. Yes.
Oh, so what you would almost say that your body was trying to expel it because it was kind of poisonous. Yes, that sounds reasonable.
You could say that. You could also say that about water. If you have too much of it, you expel it. So it's kind of like water is poison. The old dilithium hydroxide. It's dangerous.
There you go. No,
if there's too much of it in the atmosphere, you die. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm lukewarm on black licorice. It's okay.
I like black jelly beans. I don't like black poison.
Black licorice, black jelly beans.
Poison licorice.
I like black jelly beans, but I tend to separate them from all the other jelly beans and just eat them exclusively because they tend to ruin the taste of all the regular ones for a while.
That's exactly
they sit in your mouth.
right.
So question though on jelly beans: is it Jelly Bellies or will you eat any type of jelly beans?
Pretty much any, but oh man, Starburst jelly beans.
Oh, okay.
Hands down the best.
Yeah, so that's a thing I've noticed with Americans. Americans seem to, like, when they talk about jelly beans, they're usually always referring to Jelly Bellies. I've never experienced that at another place.
See, I hate all jelly beans, so it's a...
I don't even know what a jelly belly is relative.
Jelly bellies are like, they're like gourmet jelly beans. They're mini, they're tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
They're the company that also...
and a stronger flavor.
Bean. Yeah, they're smaller with more flavor. I like the big classic jelly beans.
Like the box or
Wait,
whatever.
How big are we talking?
Ones.
Oh, about the size of a poodle.
Oh, God.
I gotta find a picture because, like, are these
that's the Australian jelly beans.
Right.
Like, are these even?
So you get the black ones take a while to get through.
Oh God.
You need an axe.
Eating a black jelly bean the size of a poodle, that could kill an entire village, I think. That is just the worst.
Actually, I think that's what turns koalas into drop bears.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so it's one of the factors for sure. Yeah, they haven't quite nailed down all of the rationale. It's either the black licorice or it's the giant black jelly beans.
So, we play video games too. But before we move into that, let's get some announcements out of the way. And actually, I think Tarragon's got the most to talk about. Let's hear your news, buddy.
Well, firstly, just because a lot of people were getting confused with it, and because I went and had a look at the settings, I've finally changed my Twitter handle just to zzUrbanSpaceman, just to match my gamer tag. So
Smart.
No longer 22TMA. I don't know what happens if you go and look for 22TMA. I don't know if it bounces. Don't really care. But yeah, zzUrbanSpaceman is now the Twitter handle. So I am zzUrbanSpaceman pretty much everywhere.
There you go. That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, the other bit of news was I was actually interviewed over on the XONEBROS blogs. Silence42, Casey Height, he had a bit of a chat with me over Discord, and we ended up getting into a bit of a back and forth on that, and that ended up as a blog post. So, yeah, I'll have a link to that in the show notes. It's already been plastered around everywhere before. But
yeah, it was a good read.
Yeah.
That was cool. He did a good job putting that together. Nice work, Silence. That was it was fun to read and presented in a way. And now that maybe you got that little bug in you, we'll see what we can do about converting you into a real achievement hunter. I say real achievement hunter, but like my gamer score is nothing. Nothing special.
Yeah, so we'll get him up to redemption denied level soon. It's only a few months away, I reckon.
So, we got our wins of the week, Tarragon. Is one of those your wins, or do you have something else?
Well, yeah, pretty much, because this week's been pretty quiet for me. So, yeah, I basically just put the interview because that was a bit of a highlight this week.
It was a highlight. That was awesome. What about you, Prue? What's your win of the week?
So I mentioned last week that I had been trying one of my random to-do lists. Random to-do list achievements this month was the achievement Still Alive in Portal 2, which is to beat one section of the co-op campaign without dying. And me and Skeptical Mario had kind of been struggling with that a little bit. We had like 2 sessions, I think, couldn't get it. We finally got it on Sunday, and it was a great relief, and it was a lot of fun to do it. And at the end, it was like, because we had done most of the levels 4 to 5 times, it was like, oh, this is super easy. Why did we have any troubles in the beginning? But, that's kind of how it always goes because,
I found with that one, when I did it, I think it took me like 3 tries to get through it, or maybe 4. But the problem with it is that the hardest level to not die on is actually like the second last one, where you're basically suspended up in the air, being traveling along those rails, and you miss and you're screwed. So it's it was quite a relief to get that one.
It was actually, I don't think we ever even died in that one. It was just the last one that kind of tripped us up. And even though so we would die and be like, oh, no big deal, we'll just do the 9 levels again, but let's just get through this so we know how to get through it for the next time. We would, and then of course something weird would happen, or crazy, the portal would be placed in just the wrong angle and we'd get stuck. It wasn't that bad or anything, but it's just like you have to do these 9 levels in a row perfectly, and it's not that bad, but it was we had struggled for about a week and a half with it, and we got it, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
That is great. That's always a good feeling, the fist pump moment. What about you, Damien? Yeah. Any fist pump moments this week?
Not sure if I'd really call it a fist pump moment, but my win of the week was the ultimate zombie leader in iZombies. So I think I talked about that one last week. That was my win of the week. So I finished up the game this week. I had to do the winter levels, and the ultimate zombie leader is to get 90 stars, or all the 90 stars from both sets. So I ended up getting that one, which is the highest ratio achievement in that game. But it was actually not the last achievement for me to get. My last achievement was to actually then get all the winter levels down to under 8 minutes. So I'd actually gotten everything to like 3 stars, and then you're like, okay, I guess I got to speed run a few of these. So, banged it out within 45 minutes later. So, iZombies done. Unfortunately, I now no eyes left.
That's right.
Yeah, but it would also help if I actually participated in those
So what are you worried about then?
I'm not. That's kind of the point. You're like, oh, dude, you could participate in this. Yeah, I could, but I'm not gonna.
I lost the competition in my mind.
And I being one of the letters you can skip anyway. So
there you go. You just get a sub. What about you, Randy? What's your win of the week?
I had a good one this week. I've mostly been playing Grand Theft Auto, but I finished my first Stramillionaire this week.
Hey!
After the show.
Woohoo!
So,
did you use a magic wand?
I did not use a magic wand. Do we have confirmation that the magic wands actually work?
No, we haven't actually heard back from that guy at all. So.
But speculation, they work. No, this is all by hand. No magic wands.
That just sounds wrong.
Just gonna let that hang out there for a little bit.
Oh my god, I didn't know what to. Oh boy.
Hey, at least it wasn't you, Freem, this week that made it awkward.
Just let it simmer.
That was intentional. Yeah. So I've got, I don't know, another 750 to 800,000 strums.
God, that just
done.
That just sounds awful.
Yep. Until the Scorpio version comes out, then you get to do it again.
There it is.
No, the Scorpio is not going to have different games. Okay, they're all going to work.
Okay,
not buying it. Still not buying it.
So my win of the week is actually it's kind of a compilation here. I completed Quantum Break this week. Got everything done, and I think it was like 17 some achievements just to finish that thing off. Finished Act 4, 5, and then clean up. And boy, it was super fun. But I do remember so many people, one of the biggest criticisms was that the final boss was like kind of cheap, and because you can do it in one playthrough on hard, and then you can go back and kind of clean some things up a little bit. More on that in a sec. But you can play through one time on hard, and it'll unlock all the difficulty achievements. And the actual game on hard is not terribly difficult, but some of the set pieces, you have to try over and over. Now, checkpointing is pretty nice, so you don't have to go too far behind, but it is kind of tricky to get through all the combat. And then there's the final boss, who I will admit is difficult. He, it is a challenging battle, but the crap about like, oh, this has never been in the game before, that is total bullcrap, because you literally have that power yourself. And you use it on the bad guys all the time, and now you got the one guy who can use it against you, and you're like, whoa, this is so cheap. How come he can do this? Come on. He even telegraphs it. There's a big red light on you. Like, it's coming. Get moving. Criticism aside, it still took me, I don't know, probably 15 to 20 tries on that guy just to complete it. But I did, and it's over. And the one thing I'll point out here is, because, the way the game is set up, you make decisions at there are 4 junction points in the game where you make decisions. And things that you do to make those decisions have an effect on items in the game. So specifically, like the collectibles, if you choose to side with one character versus another, there'll be an email that is different in a way, and it'll reference the decisions that you make. And so if you make the different decision, that email's gone. And so there's like 206 collectibles in one playthrough or 201 in the other. You can get the Time Master achievement that is getting 100% completion in that in any one playthrough. You don't have to do both sides of it. Now, what I can't confirm, though, is for Media Baron, because Media Baron was that glitched achievement that people are having issues with, where you have to do all the emails, presentations, TV shows, radios, everything. And so I went through all, got 100%, and I'm like, oh, didn't unlock. Okay, maybe I have to go back, and I need to go back anyway to do the other decision, right, at each junction point. Of course, then when you do that, your percentage goes from 100% each level down to like 88 or 80 or whatever, because obviously those old emails are gone and new emails show up. So, okay, fine. Played through and cleaned all those things up. Now, one other huge benefit is that immediately when you collect a collectible, it tracks it and locks in. So you can collect it and immediately quit. So if you get to 100%, boom, you're done with that little subsection. You can move on to the next one. Of course, if there are later in the level, you have to play through the whole level, but you can play it on easy, and that makes life easier. The one last thing I'll mention for Media Baron is the achievement still is kind of glitchy, but you can force the unlock if you go into the Achievements app on your Xbox One. So you can't do it in-game, but you go to the game hub and then that achievements page, and immediately when you open that achievements page, if you have, because I had 100%, right, the done unlocking scenario, it just said 100%. Immediately when I went into the achievements hub, it popped. So,
actually, just a question for Prue on that, because you're on the beta dashboard. Is the achievements app still a thing? Is that something you can still go to, or has that been removed entirely, given the new overlay stuff?
It's so the overlay replaces the snap stuff, but once you pop into, if you try to go into the achievements, it will actually give you the same breakdown that you're used to seeing with you have 500 out of 1,000 achievements, and you can compare them with your friends, and it's that same specific app. It hasn't changed. All
right, so there still might be a method to force an unlock of a stalled achievement then. With that.
So that's how I got it, and it was great. It was nice to get the completion there. So let's move into some
congrats.
feedback, huh? Yeah.
Just one last thing on Quantum Break. Is there some kind of new game plus concept in that where you retain your abilities for another run, which would make a hard run easier if you've already done a run on normal or something like that? Or is it just literally you start off completely fresh, so there's absolutely no benefit from going through it on a lower difficulty except for it being easier?
Correct. Correct.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the way the game progresses is that you gain abilities as part of the story, and so like,
Yep.
Everything can be unlocked and stuff with your character. Like if you've done they're called Cronin sources, right, to upgrade your character, you can have everything unlocked. But if you go back to the first episode, you don't have your time dash, like that's disabled.
Right. Okay.
So,
Got it.
yeah. But it's a fun game. Like I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of disappointed that we're not going. Well, I say we're not going to get a second one. I think based on the sales, from what I hear, didn't do as well as they had wanted. But they certainly left it open.
That's a bit of a sucky thing, really, because new IPs traditionally, don't necessarily sell well on their first game. So then the sequel comes out, fixes all the things that were criticisms of the first one, and that's the one that really makes a franchise. So it's really disappointing to see new IPs like this, which are actually good, but may not have got the sales that they wanted, being
Absolutely.
just canned.
It's funny.
I think that's silly.
I know Macca mentioned it when he was on our show last, and he and Rand talk about this all the time. Randall Thor 19 is that there is something with sequel fatigue, but there's also a clamoring for people who actually want like the second game. You tried something, maybe it wasn't this huge booming success on the front end, but fix it. Then go back, take that same concept and improve upon it, like Assassin's Creed did with Assassin's Creed 2. Then all of a sudden it went in Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2. I mean, there's just tons of examples like that. Dead Rising to Dead Rising 2.
Well, we can disagree on that.
But anyway, and then they start getting out of hand. But I know those guys will say like Rise 2, Sunset Overdrive 2, Quantum Break 2, Recore 2.
Recore deserves a sequel, I think.
There's just so many of those types of games that there was something there. It was a core experience that was at least fun. And boy, you could take that same world, that same concept, and just kind of build upon it, and take out all the stuff that people didn't care for. Some of them, if they're a total disaster, fine, I get it, but that's why we won't see another rock band, because.
Don't bring it back there.
They keep trying.
Yeah.
Well, they've already said
to be
Rock Band is a platform, so they just keep adding overpriced updates every year.
Yeah, to be fair, they've had 4 chances now, so it's not like it's the first of. Anyway.
Nope. Cool. All right. Well, let's move into some feedback here. One immediate piece of feedback we got when the show first came out. It was from
that day,
Silence 42, and he said, "Hey, Freemhole, what's Randy's deal about talking about Crystal Pepsi? That tastes like Lemon Pledge. You disagree?"
Drank Lemon Pledge.
Yeah, this does beg the question: how does he know what Lemon Pledge tastes like?
I think I've recently seen what Lemon Pledge is, but just for people who aren't American and have never heard of Lemon Pledge, can somebody describe what this actually is?
Wood polish.
It's
like a wood polish like that's lemon scented.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was a cleaner.
It is.
It
right.
is.
It cleans wood. Right. It's kind of a lacquer type consistency, a toner, very liquidy, mild surfactant that doesn't soak into wood.
Certainly really something you would not want to in any way taste.
It is poison.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think it's licorice flavored. Yeah. So
now that being said, okay, so to everybody out there, and this is a global thing, to everybody out there who said, because you make that joke like. With the Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, when he's like, I eat pieces of crap like you for breakfast. And he goes, "Oh, you eat pieces of crap, whatever." Or that tastes like crap. Well, how do you know what crap tastes like? Here's the thing. Your olfactory senses are very closely linked. So smell and taste are very, very close. And so what something smells like typically is what something tastes like. So Lemon Pledge smells delicious, and I'm sure it tastes delicious too.
So black licorice smells poisonous and actually does taste like poison as well.
There you
okay,
go.
That's fine. Yeah, all right.
So that works.
At least it's honest.
What he's saying is he's never seen a taste like this. And it's amazing.
So, Crandy, that's not the only question for you. We had a question way back in early January from Lucky32468, and he says, what do you, Crandy, think of the new Killer Instinct characters? How are you feeling? It's what? We're in season 3 now?
No, this was in reference to Kilgore that was released as a standalone character. In addition, so there was season 3 released, I don't know, 6 months ago or something, which was sold as a season pass with 8 new characters that were released the usual. They'd release them every 2 or 3 weeks or something.
Yep.
And then, like they did in season sort of 1, sort of 2 with Shadow Jago, is they released actually, no, they do this every season. They release a 9th character that is separate from the season pass. So first season was Shadow Jago. Second season was Omen. Third season was Kilgore. So first season, Shadow Jago was like he was limited or exclusive or something, and then he came back for like 4 weeks, and then he was gone, and then now he's permanent, and then Omen was free, and then now we have Kilgore. And Kilgore released at $10. So I mean, a lot of people were criticizing.
Ouch.
That's a lot, and it kind of is. Because normally the characters are about $5 each, a little discount when you buy the whole season. I personally don't, as somebody who criticizes overpriced DLC, I don't have a huge issue with Kilgore being $10 for a couple of reasons. One, I think Killer Instinct is extremely well done. All the characters are more or less totally different from each other. They're not just lazy reskins of the same character over and over. I mean, some have similar movesets, but are generally different enough to be substantially different. Second, half of the money they make from that goes to funding community tournaments. So it's not like they're just, here's this $10 character, we're just taking all this money. They take the normal amount of money that a character would get, and then they give the other half to funding community tournaments, which is kind of awesome because that's going to keep Killer Instinct going and the Killer Instinct community going, because you can have competitive tournaments without having to either have the company put up a big chunk of money or have some sponsorship or something.
Yeah.
They
invasive sponsorship. Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of self-fund the tournaments by people wanting the character anyway. And I think it's great that they do that. I've put so much time into the game. I get so much out of the game. I really don't have an issue dropping $10 on a character. And again, it's half of it's going to the community. All the characters are different.
Is Kilgore like the knight-looking dude, or like the dude with like metal blades on him or whatever?
That's Fulgore. So
Fulgore.
Yeah, Fulgore is like the classic kind of face of Killer Instinct.
Right.
Kilgore is a early version of Fulgore.
Gotcha.
Guns for hands.
But then who... Oh, fun. What's the eye demon guy? Is that like Igor?
Idol.
Okay. I was just getting them all confused.
With a big
split
rattle club.
Yeah. How many characters are in KI?
I think it's up to 27 now.
Jeez, that's quite the roster.
I think it was 9 a season for 3 seasons.
So that's like you got to do 200 rounds with every single one, and
20 rank matches, except for Omen. Omen is the only character with different achievements.
Yeah,
which is
Omen's the weird one.
Yeah,
that is weird. Why would
I think because he was free. He was the only free one.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we also have a question from Rocker Dude 5012. He says, "Have you guys ever encountered a cheater yourself? And did anything develop from that? Have you ever witnessed somebody cheating, like,
yes.
Gaming or in investigation?
Does this mean like just a profile I've come across, or an actual person
either
in the
or,
game?
But
yeah, just tell us the story.
I mean, I used to hunt down profiles back when you could see timestamps on Xbox.com. I would hunt down profiles all the time. It was really obvious.
Yeah,
what'd you do?
Pretty obvious.
You report them? I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't really
reported to True Achievements. I mean, even on True Achievements, sometimes it can be pretty obvious where you see an achievement that's online only and they've got it offline, and you sort of go, I don't think that's valid.
Actually,
and then you click the report button and you find out they've already been reported. It's like, okay.
And when I was boosting Gra, I would see people all the time Like people would just like cheat all 3 leaderboard achievements offline, and like they'd have like they just appear. Obviously, they're not on the leaderboards. Okay, clearly they've cheated. They've got all of them offline, and that's impossible. And they're not anywhere to be seen on the leaderboards, and have never played the game. So
yeah, I mean, as far as obvious in-game cheating, I think the worst and most prolific that I've ever seen it was in Halo 2.
Yep. I was gonna say
and there were periods where there were a bunch of exploits with people modifying the DLC maps, and they could use that to essentially give themselves superpowers and jump around.
Wait,
and
Halo 2 on original Xbox?
Where are we talking? Call of Duty?
Yep.
they could fly
Halo
around
2.
in a gauze.
Halo 2 original.
I never experienced that. I used to play that all the time.
It was bad.
It was bad for a while, and then that's when the sort of the banhammer stuff started coming in, and
I must have come
really
along
cracking down
after
on it. And there must have been like 800 account bans within the first week just from people getting caught using exploits and cheats in Halo 2. That was sort of their first really big crackdown on a lot of that stuff. So yeah, that's probably the most egregious I've seen. So yeah, it was just so you enter a match and there's somebody just going around super killing you from across the map without you being able to see or do anything, and so it's like just quit the match. And generally all they do there is just report them. So you've got the in Xbox like dashboard report function for that sort of stuff, and that's basically all you can do really, and just try and avoid them. I've really seen a lot on Xbox 360, to be honest, but I don't play a lot of multiplayer anymore.
There's a few known ones on 360. Call of Duty World at War is horrible. I mean, every match you play is a hack match. Everyone. Like, there's, unless you're filling a lobby yourself, every match is hacked. And they just don't care. I mean, it's been like that for years. They don't care.
Can I get the completion in that now? Like, if I go in there?
You can, but you'll get removed from your tag like it happened to me. See, the thing is, I didn't want to buy the DLC, so I went around looking for mod lobbies.
Does it count as a completion?
No.
Or they just take the whole thing off?
It just lowers your ratio because your gamer score stays the same, but your TA score drops. Yeah, so it's on my tag. If you look at my tag on Xbox, it's there, but you will not see it on TA. The other one is GTA 4 has... I played in a match where it was one of the co-op matches. I got in a car with this guy. He fell through the ground, and then we just won.
Nice.
There's also a lot of people that will just give you money. Like I had a guy give me like $1 million just.
Well, that's like Borderlands and Dead Island too.
Oh yeah, right. That's true. They got the modded weapons.
Yep.
And then there's people out there that actually cheat things like Guitar Hero and whatnot, like by not actually playing the instruments.
Yeah.
Who would do that? No, I don't believe that. I don't think anybody would stoop that low to do that.
So unethical. So unethical.
That's and there's these people who get cheating.
It's like all these people who get into groups together and just like keep killing each other to unlock achievements. It's like,
See, I think my only experience is Call of Duty, like the no scopers, the aimbots. I think Modern Warfare 1 and 2 when I played those a lot. Now that being said, though, I guess I'm a dirty cheater because I've got modded weapons in Dead Island and Borderlands.
I played a ton of Borderlands. I've never come across anybody that just handed me, modded weapons or shields
Everyone
or anything.
Has modded weapons.
God,
I know. I don't know why.
Either, but
I got it from a friend.
Oh, yeah.
But and to be honest, though, it sucks because like I have a hard time going back to Borderlands because like I literally can just walk wherever I want, can't be killed, and kill everyone with one shot, and it's like. Because there's absolutely no punishment for whatever I do, it's like I have no impetus. Right, there's no challenge. It's literally just walking across the desert.
Maybe that's why you people don't like Borderlands as much as I did, because I never
had to play Borderlands for real, and I still hated it.
Well, that's not surprising.
I don't have modded weapons in Borderlands.
Prue, I've got some stuff in Borderlands I need to clean up, actually. Have you completed that? We should get together and do that if you have not yet done it.
I haven't. There are some things I still have left to do. So
and I need to too.
Will you Japanese version with me? I need
nobody wants to.
I would jump on. Well, I actually.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Possibly.
it. Let's do it.
Yep.
Borderlands, new LFG.
Yeah.
All right.
I do have one more cheating story, though.
Let's hear it.
It's sort of cheating. It's more exploiting, but it's kind of funny. Saints Row 1. I used to play. Well, Saints Row 1. I was
wondering when you were going to mention Saints Row 1.
Saints Row 1.
Is this about a friend that you know named Crandy?
No, I mean, I'm very open about how Saints Row 1 plays or played. It probably still does. People still play it. So back in the early days of the 360, there were really, until Halo 3 came out, there wasn't really any multiplayer games that people played. I think some people played Perfect Dark, but not a lot. So there was a big Saints Row community because the multiplayer was solid. But it was solid for a very strange reason, because nobody played it for real. It was all who could cheat better, because it was really exploitable. So there were a few weird things you could do. So they didn't have any anti-standbying measures. And standbying is, on old modems, they would have a button on them. There was a standby button. I don't know exactly what that button does, but it seems to...
I can tell you from a technical point of view.
Okay,
basically, all it does is without disconnecting the actual link, it will just stop all traffic on the link. So your link stays up, but you are not sending or receiving anything at that point. So you're basically putting your connection on standby. And so some of the older modems, ADSL modems, had that as a button. And so you'd have Halo lobbies in particular. You have people doing that, particularly if they were the host of that game. They could put it on standby. Everybody else would freeze because they're not getting the signal from the server anymore. You're free to run around and do what you want for a few seconds. And then you click it off standby. You basically get a few seconds of free action to do whatever you like. And so you'd use that to gain an advantage by making your opponent freeze. You'd kill them and then unfreeze, and they would then get the death signature or their death message, after the fact.
So it was so Halo 2, I never played Halo 2 that way, but to my knowledge, it was another big game where standbying was a thing. So
yeah, it was.
So Saints Row had no anti-standby measures at all. So it was interesting because depending on whether or not you were the host, you had a different effect. So if you were the host, you could hit standby. You'd have about 3 seconds to do whatever you want. Everyone else froze. You could move for 3 seconds. Then you froze too, and it would give you and the way you know when to reconnect was it would come up with the connection lost wheel. Like it just had a big refresh circle that said connection lost. We need to reconnect. So that's what you need to plug your internet back in. So my modem didn't have a standby button, so I had to actually pull the Ethernet cord and then plug it back in when the circle came up. So yeah, if you were the host, that would happen. If you were not the host, which was actually much better for standbying, is you would have about 10 seconds to be what I call a ghost. So you would have your body where you hit standby, and it would stay there. And anything that happened to you while you're a ghost would still happen. And if you died, it would override whatever your ghost did. But if you didn't die, everything your ghost did would actually happen. So everyone else would appear to be frozen to you, obviously, because you're not communicating with them anymore. So what people would do is you would often go into a gang match as usually protect the pimp. That was the general kind of standard mode that everyone played. And the pimp would just stand by halfway across the map, run across, kill everyone, and then be back on the other side of the map. So there were just these hilarious matches where it created this new, totally different type of gameplay that was totally not intended, but was super fun because it was just bizarre. It was weirdly balanced because everybody did it.
It sounds like this. It sounds like there should be a game actually made. No, I was takes that particular mechanic.
I was actually thinking that is you could have the Saints Row multiplayer as a standalone game without having to have cheat hardware. So whoever the host is standbys as the host. Everybody else ghosts. And then there's the other thing is, so I got tired of unplugging my cable. So what I did is I took an Ethernet cable, cut it apart, and tied part of it to a light switch.
Right.
So I forget which one.
Self standby. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a lag switch, but turns out the lag switch actually gave a third effect that let you teleport. So you would turn into a ghost, but instead of going back to your body would teleport to where your ghost was.
Yeah, stand buying was very prevalent in Halo 2 as well. Awful. It was awful.
So I just remember like this monstrosity on the modem. I just imagine like somebody looking like, why do you have a light switch on your modem?
You definitely avoided your warranty, I think.
Right.
Well, it's just the Ethernet cable, though. So
you avoid the warranty on the Ethernet cable.
Yeah, which, I mean, when you cut it apart,
I don't know. I think if you... Yeah, that's fair.
They wouldn't know. You just pull it out. They don't care that the cable company. They'll replace it anyway. They don't care. They're just going to throw it away when you change plans.
I don't know. If you stick a butter knife in your Ethernet ports, I don't think they're going to cover that.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a normal.
They might cover the knife.
So then there's one more thing. There's one more aspect of Saints Row that was horribly frustrating and hilarious. If you were not the host...
I'm just only in Crandy's mind could those two things be put together in such a way that it's enjoyable. It's like horribly frustrating, but so much fun. But horribly frustrating.
It's so much fun when you did it to other people, but not when people did it to you. So what happened is if you had a bullet collide with an object as it was despawning, at the same time, it would freeze the host's Xbox.
I remember you telling me about that one.
So what people would do is in gang matches, I mean, you would stand by to check if you're the host. You're like, okay, I'm not the host. Let's freeze the host. So you'd knock like there were a few objects that were better. Like I remember the water machine was particularly good. Benches were good.
God, this sounds absolutely infuriating. This sounds like the worst multiplayer experience I could think of.
It's not. It's because like everyone did it and you just expected it. Like it was just...
All right, so you basically go into Saints Row 1, turn on the multiplayer, and you just expect your entire Xbox to crash. That sounds like a great multiplayer experience.
But it's just what happens. It's so satisfying when you do it just right and you freeze the host.
So you're trying to out-cheat the cheaters the whole time.
Exactly. It's all cheating and it's all fantastic.
That's funny.
Okay.
And then there'd be the odd guy that would just wander and have no idea what's going on and just be obliterated.
Just get wrecked.
Yeah, because
I got actually
that must have made the game totally fun for him.
Yeah, I bet. He has a great time.
Yeah, right.
He probably came back night after night to experience that over and over again, I'm sure.
I guess just another game on this topic that I thought of, and I must have been fortunate enough to get all of the multiplayer and, in fact, all of the achievements done in this game before it got wrecked. But Red Dead Redemption, the multiplayer lobbies in that are apparently completely pointless and hacked now. So you can go into private ones and set it up so you can avoid a lot of that stuff. But apparently it's pretty awful now and it's not going to get fixed.
That one's really weird because I was doing some digging on it and reading about it. It seems like it's not like the typical cheat lobbies where it's somebody who has an actual modded game. It's like a hack virus that goes around. So like if you've played with somebody in one of those lobbies and you go to another one, you will infect every lobby that you move to. And then it just I imagine if every lobby closed, it might kind of reset the infection so nobody was infected anymore. But it's just so prevalent that
it must do something to your profile and
Well,
still,
and it's just
I'm glad I managed to avoid that.
So it's like if you join the one in that session and join another one, if that lobby's not infected, when you join it, it'll infect it.
Become interesting. But if you quit out on multiplayer completely and go back in,
come back, it's gone.
Okay,
like you're clean.
So it's not permanent.
So it's really weird. You can still do everything. Like sometimes it's really beneficial. Like if you can get in a good lobby where the enemies don't spawn, do a hideout. None of the enemies spawn. It thinks you killed them all, and then you can just keep replaying it for more XP.
Yeah.
But usually it's a pain and things don't work like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
It's definitely more harm than good. You can still get everything. It's just
annoying.
More challenging than it should be.
Sure. All right, let's move on to our next. Well, I it's kind of a directed toward me, but remember I had the comments last show that I wanted to wrap this up so I could get to Mass Effect 1 in March. I'm gonna participate in March Effect, the community challenge, and NBA Kirkland heard that and he wanted to see kind of where my progress was because he enjoys those games, and so he took a screenshot of my Mass Effect achievements. And so it's
Such progress, Frame. Such
Mass
progress.
Effect 1,
I've never
one
read it.
achievement. Mass Effect 2, one achievement. Mass Effect, I dived all 3.
No.
And he said, "Oh, this is just sad." Well, to which Rich Stone, True Achievement himself, said, "Hey, that's the way I play RPGs too."
Yep.
Thought that was pretty funny, and we kind of got into a conversation about it on how I should approach that game, and I absolutely will give it the single playthrough with the intention of going for the completion. But everything I'm hearing is that it's so
you cannot actually get the completion with one playthrough.
No, what
It's
I'm
impossible.
saying, with the intention. So I will do the 2 allies and like play with them the whole time.
Right, I see. Yep.
Yep. And so my intention is play one time with 2 allies and whatever I pick. And with the intention of moving into then the hardcore run and the insanity run by switching the 2 allies later. The problem is everything that I'm hearing from everybody is when you played it way back in the day, that was awesome. But now that you are with modern gaming conventions, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through. Like, it's going to be worth my time
They're
to
wrong.
do.
They're wrong.
It's still worth my time to do the
They're
2
wrong.
playthroughs.
They are
I mean, I had to actually go back and finish. I had another 2 companion runs or something like that to do on Mass Effect 1. And no, the gameplay has the problems that it always had, but it's still a very playable and very polished game for what it is. I think a lot of people just had problems with the sort of pseudo RPG kind of stuff, and the handling of equipment is a bit funny. But as far as the actual gameplay goes, it's great. And they just improved on it, but it was never particularly bad.
Never all. Okay. Go ahead.
I would say that I think this is a big claim, but Mass Effect, the original, is probably my favorite 360 game of all time. I played it 5, 6, 7 times over. You just go into it, have your fun. You're going to get the other stuff anyways. Oh no, they're so wrong. This is a game you can pick up over and over again because it's so story driven, and it's so you'll pick up the gameplay nuances later on, and there are things you can learn to skip and blah 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 blah. But man, Mass Effect is so and if you're going to do it for the completion or thinking of the completion and then go into Mass Effect 2, you're going to get to carry all that stuff with you, and then of course obviously into Mass Effect 3. By the way, Freem, I have to say I'm a little skeptical that you're going to be able to get 1, 2, and 3 done in a month. I mean,
No, I'm not. I'm only going to do Mass Effect 1.
Oh, okay,
I want to get the story done in Mass Effect 1 in the month of March. That's my goal. That's
perfect.
That's what I think is doable.
Go and explore it. Have fun with it. Just like live in that universe. It's so well constructed and so beautiful and so amazing. You're going to have a fun time.
So I would say you probably want to do a Paragon run and pick 2 allies, and that's pretty much all you need to think about for your first run. Just do that. Your second playthrough, you can re-import your character, run through it again for your Insanity run, and then play a third one as your Renegade, and then you can choose whether the Renegade or the Paragon to take through to the next game.
And wait, but Insanity is harder than Hardcore, right?
Yes.
So
you can go straight to Insanity after doing your first.
So you can do it in
playthrough.
2 playthroughs, or it has to be 3? It's 3 because you have
it has to be 3
2.
because there are six
allies.
6 allies, and you need to take 2 of them through the majority of the missions. Basically they all have to go with you through the majority of the missions. So, and you can only have 2 with you at a time. So yeah.
So, but
you have to do 3
in terms
or at least
of
2 and 3/4.
I mean, because the story doesn't change. So, right, but then
there are significant differences
because
in how
of
the story
the way you go with
progresses.
Paragon or the Renegade
and
options,
also,
your dialogue changes, and
there's that, and there's also some events that change. There are also things with your companions that can change depending on what you do. It's
there's enough to keep me going. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and you want to explore the different things and go, yes.
Especially your first run, man. Just go with it and have fun. You're most likely not gonna ruin anything for future runs, and then you're gonna understand the mechanics. You're gonna understand how the world works. You're gonna understand how the companions are. Just go into that first run completely just open to everything, and you're gonna have a great time. It's so much fun.
All right, fantastic. So, all right. So Mass Effect aside, there's still some more questions. I'm excited for March. I'm looking forward to playing it. I hear great things. At some point, I'd like to get in the trilogy. Mass Effect Andromeda right now is looking super awesome. Like, I am really excited for that, and I don't like being excited for games, and knowing it's not going to happen for a long time.
I hate being excited for games. You're pulling a Randy there. It's like,
yeah. It's because you know you're going to be disappointed. That's why.
I'm so conflicted.
Did you pre-order it, Prue?
I have not. No, I don't.
Good.
I've never pre-ordered anything, so that's not
good.
But
you can pre-order it up to 2 days before. That's allowed.
We'll see.
To get
We'll
free
see
shipping.
In Randy's
yes.
list of do's and don'ts.
The way I look at it is like take Quantum Break, for instance, right? I was really excited about that game, and then I let it I played it for a little bit, let it simmer, and then I came back to it, and it's like, yeah, this is super fun. I really like this, and I didn't have these heightened expectations. So I think that's what the problem with the hype train all the time is you just get super excited, and you're like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And then it's not, and it's like you can't enjoy it for what it was because your enthusiasm was too high.
It's tough for me, though, because I literally bought a Windows phone to play Mass Effect Infiltrator because I wanted the series completion on Mass Effect. Like, I love this game. I love this universe. And now it's a new thing, and it's very new and very... I would have kind of been okay if they left it alone, but we'll see. It could be great, and I'm not... I hope it is. It could be terrible, and I hope it's not. But I'm approaching it skeptically optimistic.
I think the thing going for it that, say, didn't go for Saints Row is that it's the same developer doing it. They've got the background and the history and the ability to pull it off. So
Saints Row is the same developer all the way through.
Wasn't it bought by whoever it was?
The publisher,
and then,
not developer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
Gotcha. Hey, let's
you know what I mean.
let's have a little sillier conversation here. It's a question from Rocker Dude 5012. And he says, Iron Man, Batman, Green Arrow, etc. Are those really quote unquote superheroes or not? And I want to hear your take, Prue, because the following comment by Elefet77 says, surely they're more super than Superman, right? They had to actually work for it.
I'm ripping my hair out right now. Okay, all right. Let's lay some track. Let's clear it out. Let's make everything very obvious to people. Yes, all of these characters are superheroes for many reasons, but because they are shown to do superhuman things, right? The reason that Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, RIP, or Elon Musk is not Batman is because they don't have the ability to do the things that Batman does. So yes, even though that in the comics they're represented as quote unquote just human, they are doing superhuman things that cannot be done by regular human beings.
But why couldn't Elon Musk make an Iron Man suit and be Tony Stark?
Because Tony Stark
says he hasn't.
There you go.
Because
Tony may secretly have one.
Look, the thing is, if he did that, he would become a superhero because he's given himself super abilities. It's just that's the way it works. It's like it doesn't matter how you get those super abilities; you've become super once you've got the abilities.
Absolutely right. Absolutely true.
So, like that dude who can like hang barbells from his genitals, he's a superhero.
Well, he doesn't go and do that and save people. He just hangs them off his.
But that's a superhuman ability.
Well, yeah.
No, it's not superhuman. It's not superhuman because, believe it or not, Freem, and if you want to try this, go ahead. You can go ahead and hang yourself by your genitals, and it is something that you're within your ability to do.
Yep.
I mean, he's saying superhero, right? I'll give you the hero part of it. This clown isn't a hero, But what he's doing is he has done something to his body, or I mean, even like the strongest man in the world or whatever. They have trained so hard and so much at their singular craft that they have excelled beyond what a normal or average human can do, becoming thus a superhuman and doing super things. That's literally what Iron Man and Batman and Green Arrow do.
No. Iron Man, first of all,
is a dude with a heart condition.
Let's take Iron Man in the MCU, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and talk about him and the things that he's been able to accomplish. In Iron Man 2, he literally, his computer AI, by the way, that he developed on his own, by himself, tells him, congratulations, you just created a new element of the periodic table. And like, no, these are not things that single people can do. These are superhuman feats of.
But he's just really smart. Like there's really smart people out there.
So is Professor X, who is really smart.
I think the distinction here is that in the comics, they do things that are actually literally impossible.
Yes.
Like literally.
Like being really smart?
Well,
you cannot
not that smart.
You cannot be Tony Stark smart in our universe. You cannot be smart enough to completely defy the laws of physics. Yep.
It's like, I'm sorry, you just don't invent a new thing on the periodic table. You don't. Well, A, you wouldn't invent it, and B, periodic table's pretty full anyway. So it's like, that really kind of annoyed me as a science person. It's like,
or you can do it. You just add more neutrons and increase the.
That's not how it works.
How useful would that be? Like,
it's not stable.
You have to hire Hulk, and he goes Hulk smash and makes new elements.
But fine, that's okay. Then let's turn our attention to Batman.
Okay, Batman.
Literally, what is super about him?
What do you talk? Well, he has plot armor. He has.
So he has lots of money. Yep. He's very smart, and he trains hard. Right. And so he's just a really good cop.
No, because Batman beat
detective. I'm sorry.
He beat the crap out of Superman, a being who can push planets with his arms. No, there is no human being.
Because he built a suit to do it. He used technology.
No. If we're talking about, I'm not going to get into specifics because this is an Xbox podcast.
Again, defeating the laws of physics, it would be impossible to build that set of armor in reality, or certainly not to the functionality that is in the comics. That's the thing. It's comics are beyond our reality because they use things and do things that we actually can't possibly do. Or
today,
we might get close to, but certainly nothing like what it's in the comics.
Today, though, if you read a comic in the 1950s and someone was like, hey, this guy, he made a jetpack. That's crazy. That's superhuman. How are we ever going to make a jetpack? Dude, we can make freaking jetpacks. Like,
have you actually seen how jetpacks work?
I was just going to ask if you've used a jetpack before, Freem, or not.
Yeah. Have you seen that jetpack that puts out fires?
Let me ask you, Freem, have you ever flown around on your bat cape, just scooting around like it's no big thing?
You mean the glorified hang glider? Yeah, yes. They have those too. Those are real.
Yeah, but do you fight crime with it?
I don't. I'm not saying I'm a hero.
Do full-on gymnastics and beat up people?
In a little backpack.
I'm not saying I'm a hero.
Carrying a hang glider on your back.
I'm just saying this term super, just because they do really cool things, it doesn't make them super.
In the real world, Batman cannot exist in the real world. Therefore, he is, by definition, above the real world. He is superhuman. So yes, every comic character that you read about, specifically in DC and Marvel, are superhuman.
That's just because they're made up.
Yes, of course. And they're made up to do cool things that no normal person
But why can't you have a similar person in reality, and we just don't call them superheroes, despite them doing super things equivalent to what these characters do?
Okay,
because nobody does anything that's equivalent to what those people do.
You show me the person that can do that,
give me one person who does that.
Yeah.
There's that dude who can, see numbers. That he's got some form of autism, kind of like Rain Man.
So you're talking savants. So yeah. I mean that's right? just a known artifact of the brain, but that's
I'd say that's pretty darn super. The dude can freaking see numbers.
Can he fight crime with it?
I didn't say he was a hero. I'm saying he has super abilities.
Does he? Okay. Well, yeah, that's That's debatable.
So
the
if
thing is
he
that is
decided
within-
to choose, he's like, oh my God, we got to figure out how to fix this bomb. And there's some sort of crazy calculation. I need to know what number to put in. And he's like, oh, I can just see the number. Boom, I just saved the world. Hey,
I
superhero.
think there are TV shows based upon that, and they kind of take about 50 different things that savants can possibly do, jam it all into one person's head, and then make that an amazing TV show. But again,
garbage
that's not
Scorpio
real.
show?
It's like, yeah, it's
Scorpion or whatever.
It's not real. Yeah.
Look,
anyway.
if you have, let's take Bill Gates, for instance, and you have more money than 99.999% of people on the planet, and you have not made yourself Batman yet, then it's impossible to make yourself Batman. That's just the truth.
I think Elon Musk is the
I
most
was
likely
gonna
to
say,
become
he's
Batman
closest.
or Iron Man. He's the most likely.
If he hasn't done it, you can't do it.
But to be fair, the Robert
working on
Downey Jr. Interpretation of Tony Stark was based partly in Elon Musk. So it's...
And I just want to throw this out here, right? Like,
You sure Elon Musk wasn't actually based on Tony Stark originally?
I think Tony Stark came up first.
I'm just going to say this, okay? If we were having this conversation in Gotham, we'd all be saying, well, Bruce Wayne's got all this money in the world, and he's not Batman.
Yeah, except there's not some mystery Batman flying around.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Los
I'm
Angeles.
just saying.
Yeah,
How do you know that Elon Musk isn't some sort of superhero? And we just don't know because he's so darn good at being... a vigilante.
And I'm going to put the pin on this conversation right now with that snarky comment about Superman, by the way, okay? Yes, Superman was born into his abilities and into his powers, and that's great, but it's what he's done with them that makes him super. I'm just saying the man is a farmer, and he comes to the big city to save all those rich people. So I'm just saying.
Puts the world in jeopardy.
I would actually argue against that. It's not what he's done with it that makes him super, because we have super villains that go and do really nasty things with their abilities, but they're still super. So it's not really what he's done with them.
That's fair.
They do the opposite. You get super on either extreme.
Super.
It's just the hero or the villain.
So what we need is we need the super normals, the ones that don't do anything with their super abilities. They just go around and live their lives. It's
they do it, but they do it really hard. Like I'm going to do this accounting spreadsheet. Amazing! I'm just going to knock this out of the park. It's going to be awesome.
He's got super pivot tables. You wouldn't believe. All right, I can't believe that. I mean, that was a very unexpected discussion. So let's bring it back to games. All right, we got a question here from What the Fudge. Well, I mean, Randy, why don't you frame the question for me? Because I don't know how it's specifically posed.
Does
it have vowels? Is the question.
This was an informal question. We were playing heists, and Fug brought up that he didn't think Big Rigs was real. Like he was unaware of the demo that I posted, and he thought this was all just a running joke of a theoretical game that was never actually going to exist. And he asked it. I don't remember how. It was really funny. He's like, it was kind of like, you're joking with this, right? Like it doesn't actually exist. Like this isn't a real thing. I'm like, no, it's real, and it will be published eventually. And he's like, no.
Nah.
So then I directed him to the demo. Then it crashed the first time he tried to play it.
So working as intended then.
Right.
Perfect. Achievement unlocked.
Yeah. It has a 1 in 10 chance of crashing and unlocking an achievement on. That would actually be really funny if that was a thing.
Write it down on the list. That's DLC right there.
Perfect. All right.
But no, it was funny, and then I directed him to the demo to confirm that it does in fact exist. So, but then that got me thinking: is what if everybody thinks that? So, just to clarify, Big Rigs is real. It does exist. There's a demo on the forums,
and we all cannot wait until we can earn achievements in it.
It's gonna be great.
How easy is the completion of Big Rigs going to be?
My estimate is about 1 to 2 hours.
Okay, not impossible. You're not going to have
with a single leaderboard achievement that requires 200 hours, and also is probably easier if you pay for it. It's microtransactions.
That was the intent originally, but I want everybody to experience Big Rigs, and it'll be a nice, easy completion that's fully completable.
And then you bring
Brilliant.
up the DLC.
And also the money.
Which you won't release, but you'll put the achievements out.
Yeah, put achievements out.
So
Which brings us to our next point.
that brings
Perfect
us
segue.
right into our conversation, which essentially game completions. Philip Wendell asks, he says, "Hey, I consider a game completion as finishing what I've bought, which may or may not include DLC. You all." The hosts here seem to feel like it's not unless you complete everything, including DLC. Clarify your thoughts on that.
Well, that's interesting because I've actually never had that view. I actually classify things in sort of three terms as far as completions go, and I think they're all perfectly valid. Base game completion, the base 1,000 points or 200 points or whatever. Base game with the DLC that you happen to have bought, and then everything. I mean, they're all just three different classes of completion. I think they're all completely valid.
I don't like your second one. I think that one's dumb.
Yeah, well, the thing is that is actually the default on True Achievements. So, given that I'm pretty sure they actually has put a vote up at the time, put a poll up to decide how they were going to handle DLC, and that was by far, I think, the most popular.
Yeah,
that was how they ended up doing it. So,
that's by
I think
started,
most
not by in your collection, right?
Well, yeah,
collections didn't exist at the time.
In your collection was your collection.
Okay. To be honest, I voted for that too. I mean, back in the day, that's what I wanted.
This is kind of a perfect. I've been actually struggling with this for a little bit now because since kind of really getting into achievements, I have been working on completion percentage, and
it's a silly game. It's a silly way to play.
I mean, I'm not like I'm not
because you will stop once you get to the point where you've just bought a game that you're really looking forward to playing, and then you go, but if I put this on my tag, it has 70 achievements, and my completion percentage will go down too much. I'm going to put it aside for a bit until I work on my completion percentage a bit more.
Yeah, but
that's when it becomes really dumb.
No. I'm not so hardcore into that idea that I would. I mean, right now that I would do that. Maybe in the future I would. I can't say. But I've actually been struggling with this because I've also kind of wanted to go back and finish stuff that I'm doing, which is part of the reason why I love random to-do lists so much. It motivates me to go back and finish stuff I've already started. So
right.
I've struggled now. I've been when I first started seriously hunting achievements, I was at 45%, and now I'm at 65%, and I want to get to 70%. Or 70%, excuse me. And then once I hit that, I think I'm going to switch it to all DLC because I do think in my mind, I mean, I get it. You only can complete however percentage of whatever you have. But in my mind, I'm yeah, all achievements are for everything that I have. I just think of it the way that, yes, this X game that I played 4 years ago has 3 DLCs, and I got to go back and do them. I just got to get them done. That's part of those games essentially. And I don't know how to divorce myself from that. I don't push that on anybody else or anything, but it's in my mind, it is all one thing. Everything exists in that one bubble.
Yeah, I guess I do sort of feel even getting the base 1,000 in a game, if there is DLC left over, I don't feel personally like I've completed the game per se, but I do feel a satisfaction in having gotten that 1,000 because it's sort of like feeling it's not the full completion of everything that I could do in it, but it's enough. It's a stepping stone. It's a milestone for that game. So I don't really see. I'm not going to get the base 1,000 in a game and then feel disappointed because I haven't got the completion. I've completed the base 1,000. Why wouldn't I be happy with that?
Yep. To me, it was all varying degrees of what I felt was appropriate to pay for. I take a game like Assassin's Creed, for instance. So I'm working on Assassin's Creed Revelations, and when I started this, I was totally under the impression of base game minimally. And any DLC that I owned would count for my completion because they, presented a piece of content that I felt yes, this deserves more money. I will pay for this. I'll add this to the rest of the game. That becomes my new game completion. And I was such a stickler because, and I still don't really play that much multiplayer games. But buying map packs, buying extra characters and garbage, I don't want to pay for that. Like, I don't get any use out of that, and that's literally me paying for achievements. Like the Mediterranean map pack in Assassin's Creed. Like, I don't give a crap about some dumb-looking conquistador or whatever. Like, that adds nothing to the game for me, and so I don't want to give Ubisoft more money for something that I don't want them to focus their development money on, their development time on. So that a big flag in the ground. That's where I'm going to stand. That kind of crap DLC, I don't want it. I'm totally different now. I think everything, I'm a full completion person now. I don't know where that happened or how I've transitioned to that. But to me, yes, that is the game as it's intended in its full 1,500, 2,000, whatever. And as much as I'm going to complain and moan about the garbage DLC, that's still what the developer says is the game. So that's what I feel like I need to complete. And I think it probably happened when I did my, the bean dive, and I was at an 80% completion percentage by not putting games on my card, right? I had 80% of games on my card, and then the 100 games sitting in cellophane on my, and I was like, that's just dumb.
That's exactly what happened with me.
That is just dumb.
I got my completion percentage got to the highest level it ever got, which is about 64 or 65%. And of course, even back then, this was going back 4 years or something like that. Even back then, I had a ridiculous backlog of games. And I was just, I had this mental block where I was just not putting games onto my account or not playing them at all because I didn't want to affect my completion percentage. Oh my God.
Right.
And then the bean dive came around and I was just like, why am I doing this? And I went and dived about 150 games or something like that and crashed my percentage down to 25%. Yeah. And it's never gotten particularly high ever again, and I don't really care. So.
I mean, what's funny, though, it's I still now kind of sit on games, but I think the fact that I tanked the percentage takes that stigma, that internal struggle off. It's well, I've got... I need another 150 achievements just to get up to 41%. So I kind of look at now... And it shifted my mindset to looking at individual games and saying, okay, what am I going to consider? I mean, completion is the wrong word, but what am I going to consider this game to be done with? Right. So let's take. The discussion we just had with Mass Effect. Okay. Certainly, for me to feel satisfaction, I need to at least
100%.
Play through
100%.
I at least need to play through the story one time. At least one. That is the minimum for what I would feel is a complete, a satisfactory experience. Okay, then there's always going to be that itch saying, yeah, though, just do that 2 more times and you can get the full, and that's that drive. That's that next level where I look at something like Gears. It's okay, Gears of War. Can I get all the single player achievements and feel pretty good about that? Okay, great. Now, what about the weapon ones where you just do 100 kills with those? Should I boost that? Okay, but I'll never do seriously, so it will never be a full completion because I'm not going to spend the time on that garbage. So I'm good not doing any multiplayer stuff and just feel happy with this. And this is this completion for me. And I'm not going to call it a completion, but again, it's what Tarragon said: the level of satisfaction that you got out of a game. And so then you can say yes. I'm done with that. I don't need to do that now.
Yeah, I think, except for, say, people like Smirnov, I think a lot of the high-ranking players, like Redemption Denied, and I know Rand is like this, but they're not really... There's a point where they'll come out with a game where they'll go, I'm done with this. I've got enough out of it. I don't need to complete it. No, I guess... you don't need to be a completionist to have a high gamer score, which is obviously, evidenced by these people who have these massively high gamer scores. So
probably makes it a little bit easier.
It does, because you can just get what you want and get what you need out of a game, move on to the next one. In fact, going for the completions slows you down a lot. And this, I think, is partly why Smirnov has not overtaken Stallion, is because he goes for the full completions. He's a completionist at heart. He's, obviously a fantastic gamer and puts a lot of time into this and has the resources to do it. But that's why he's still number 2. And if he happened to change his tack, he'd probably become number 1. But that's just not who he is, and that's totally fine. So completion, I don't think it really matters. It's really about what you're satisfied with in the game.
It matters to me.
But
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it can matter to you, but what matters to you may not matter to me. So,
Let me. I think I know where you're coming from, Crandy. So let me lead you in with this, because I want to get some of the feedback from the community as well. Because Skeptical Mario is, he was kind of the one who pushed for this and said, I kind of want to hear this because, of course, there's not going to be any contention here. But his take is that the varying degrees of completion are totally valid, like what Tarragon was saying. But just be clear on what you mean. A full completion to him means all DLC. And personally, he doesn't care for that level. He says he doesn't care for that level of rigor. And NBA Kirkland says he agrees, and he's excited about hearing this too. To him, he thinks the general consensus in the achievement community is that a completion is getting all of the achievements, to which he reluctantly agrees, but it is not unanimous. And he does like the fact that TA gives you the options, like you can complete the base game and you can complete, pieces of it. But
that was actually a relatively recent thing as well. There was a while where you couldn't get base completions. They added that as a feature,
which I like, where they say completed the base game. I love that toast.
Yeah.
So let's hear what Crandy has to say. Where do you stand?
So
Crandy?
I actually disagree. I think that most of the community would not consider DLC part of a full completion.
I agree with that actually.
Full completion, but I think most people consider a completion the base game.
It's the 1K. No,
mostly just looking at the number of people that complete a base game, like a game with DLC that has about 10% of people complete the base game. I bet if you look at that with DLC, I mean, you have like maybe 5% of people that started the game that have started the DLC. So I think more than that are people that are into getting full completions, and I think if more people consider DLC part of that requirement, there would be more people that started it. So I don't know. I don't have anything to back that up. That's just general observation.
But I mean, I guess it's the terminology to me that is the problem. Full completion to me means full completion. Like everything that you can do is.
No, and I definitely agree with the varying degrees.
I don't really think there's any particular disagreement that a full completion means the entire set of achievements that are available for a game, and the term base completion just means the original 1,000 points or whatever the basic points were that came with the game when you got it. Yeah, so it's just that people use completion, and they don't specify itself. One or the other.
Yeah. I do like the options to have all those varying degrees too, because it's really, at least the way I view it, is TA is for you. You set it up how you want it to work, and you focus on the things that you like, and you should be able to tailor to that. If you don't care about DLC, exclude it. Who cares?
Yep.
But what do you do for leaderboards then? Because that's where the big issue comes in. Is my completion percentage with all DLC included is whatever, and Joe Blow down the street, he's got a different one because he takes all the DLC out. And so,
can we? I mean,
the way it actually works is that there are separate leaderboards for those two particular stats. There's
right.
you're on a leaderboard for people completion percentage without DLC, as well as being on one with DLC. They're separate leaderboards which have different factors as their calculation. Interesting stat that I did actually pull a while back, just because I went and ran some numbers over TA. It's worth noting that 25% of people on True Achievements have never completed a game with all DLC. So 1 in 4 people have never got a full completion, per se. Which, just interesting stats.
That seems very high.
Well, just basing it off I was basing it off the leaderboards with the DLC, and yeah.
Well, I mean, like, look at, that's nice. I mean, that is TA, right? But if we're looking at Microsoft itself, who considers, I'm like looking at the Titanfall achievements right now, I'm at 1415 out of 2,000 of that game. So there are very different ways to look at these achievements, and it's really tough. I mean,
it's been something that's kind of not plagued, but has been part of the background of how True Achievements actually deals with stats, because you have things like title updates. Title update, it's available and almost mandatory for anybody who plays a particular game, but it's DLC. It adds achievements, but everybody's got it. So is it part of the base game or not? you would argue, no, it's not part of the base game, as in it's not part of the original disc that I put into the machine, but it's still a part of the game, and everybody who has that game and is playing it has those achievements. Do you know what I mean? So, and in fact, that's led to various long debates about how to calculate those things, and in fact, title updates are calculated differently to regular DLC on True Achievements now. So it's an interesting one when I don't know that going to the Microsoft stats on those kind of things is, particularly for our community, is necessarily valid, because a lot of the things that True Achievements does is because Microsoft doesn't do it in a way that we prefer.
And the sample of everybody is not representative of achievement hunters. It just adds in a bunch of people who don't care.
Well, yeah, and that's the larger gaming community, I would say, probably don't care about completions all that much at all. So it's a niche within a niche.
With title updates and my definition of a completion, I think title updates, because they're free, because everybody has them, they should be part of the base game completion. But being me and like really completionist, I think you have to have everything. For my completion is everything always. So that means some games can never be completed.
Yeah.
So that's just, those don't go on my tag. Those games that can never be completed, they just don't go on my tag. If I want to play them, I'll play them on another tag. And I think it's good that you brought up map packs, because I hate map packs a lot, particularly Assassin's Creed Revelations. So DLC that I really hate and I really don't think deserves money, I try to borrow as much as I can, so those developers get as little money as possible, because usually they take, 30 minutes. The worst offender is the Dark Forest pack in Dante's Inferno. It takes less than 10 minutes. It's a $10 DLC.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I think it has two achievements.
Stranglehold was another one like that. It's like a $10 or $15 DLC, and it takes you about 20 minutes to complete the whole thing.
Yeah, that one I do have someone that will lend it to me though. So
and it's never been on sale either.
No,
you can buy the game for $5.
But it's still somehow the DLC is still listed.
I think though, if we
don't get it.
If we got back to the heart of the question, just out of sheer curiosity, I would say that basically it's asking, what do we think is, what do we consider a full completion, or what do we consider everything? So like I've stated, like I think it's everything. Everything that ever comes out associated with a game, that's 100%.
Yep.
Same.
I am on that same boat. If it says it on Xbox, that's part of the completion. Yeah. Like Mass Effect 2 Japan, nobody has completed that game. Nobody will complete that game.
It's so frustrating. Yeah.
It's an achievement that you cannot get legitimately because it has DLC that was never released, and that's just an unfortunate part of the Mass Effect series completion that you can't have.
Yeah. So I went ahead and looked at the TA site leaderboard for completion percentage, and I looked at my rank. Okay, so if I do no DLC at all, only base game, I've got a 44% completion, and I rank 105,000th place. Okay? So then I say, let's just do, I'm pretty good. And when I turn a DLC, I tend to get all of it in the DLC. Let's see what that does to my completion. I'll do DLC I own. Well, that bumps me up to 46%, and I climb the ranks up to 98,000 rank position. Okay, but then what I do is what we're talking about here, all DLC for everybody. That plummets my completion percentage down to 41.8%, but it skyrockets my ranking up to 86,000. So I gain 12,000 ranks by dropping 6% completion, but because you throw everybody else in there with you with the no DLC, to your point, right? So many people don't consider DLC part of the...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of people don't like the DLC, but they'll complete games. It's
that's crazy.
Just from general interaction with community and stuff, I think that's kind of the more common consensus, is like it's really just the really hardcore people that consider everything and will grumble and moan about DLC just to keep their percentage, like me.
Yeah. I'll just how I was talking about those stats where we've got 25% of people who haven't completed a game with DLC at all. I took that by looking at the total number of people on the games completed with DLC leaderboard and comparing that to the total number of people on the games played leaderboard. So that's basically the total number of people who have at least one or more games registered against their account versus the total number of people who are on the completions leaderboard. So they've got at least one completion of a game with DLC. And the difference there is the amount of people who have never completed the game with DLC. So that seems logical. Now, at the time, this would have gone up because I did this months and months and months ago, but there were about 310,000 odd on the games played versus 233,000 on the games completed with DLC. So that difference was 25%. Comparing it with games completed with no DLC, that number goes up. There's 250,000 people who have completed a game with no DLC, but that's still 19% of people who have never completed a game, which I find astounding.
Yeah.
It's like,
especially with
really
stuff like Avatar out there, like Avatar.
Right.
Well, now with like Energy Cycle too, that's like what, 20 minutes. And
there
$3.
are plenty of games that can be completed quickly. It's just that there are a facet of people, and a lot of those will be junk accounts or secondary accounts, but there are going to be a facet of people on there who just play through games and don't care about getting all of the achievements in it. Full stop. So, yeah.
It's funny. And it'll come out soon, but. So Planting 42 and I are the new community events managers at True Achievements. And so we're co-spearheading this, and we're writing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And so we're writing an article, kind of introduce ourselves to the rest of the TA community. Obviously, you guys know me pretty well. And in there,
who are you?
Yeah, this is Freem, by the way.
Okay, nice.
Right, okay.
And so I was writing out kind of like my history of gaming, and I went and looked
Spartacus.
At my past, my gaming history, and I didn't get into achievements until I joined TA. Obviously, that's when the whole thing started, and I looked at my old site leaderboard stuff, and it was like when I first got my Xbox in 2006, I think I had like 1,500 gamer score, and then the next year, 2007, I was like maybe 3,000 gamer score in the full year. And it's because I spent so much time playing Call of Duty, it didn't really focus on any of these games and stuff. And then when I finally decided, hey, you know what? Achievements are fun. I'm going to get this. I jumped up to like 12,000 that year. Like going from doing absolutely nothing to, hey, I'm going to focus on this. And then bam, there it goes. And it's like that level of just the commitment and being you can be on TA and just be a casual gamer and be like, I just play my shooters, I play my whatever, and I'm happy with that. And so I do think you at least accidentally complete a game.
Well, it depends. I mean, it really does. I mean, I had an Xbox 360 since launch, and I could look it up very easily on TA right now, but off the top of my head, I don't know what my first completion was. Mass Effect would be a good candidate for it.
I should look it up. That's a great question.
Yeah, it actually is a really interesting.
I'm going to look it up while we talk here.
I remember mine because it was kind of a big deal to me, and funny that we talked about it in this episode. It was actually Saints Row, and when I started playing. I liked achievements, I like the concept, but I wasn't really like super into it. I had more gamer score than most of my friends because I actually looked at what they are and what they did. But other than that, like I just wanted to complete Saints Row because I thought that was cool. It was cool to have all of the achievements in a game that I really cared about. And
I had the same thing with Assassin's Creed. I just wanted to get it all.
And that's why I just. Even if you don't care about achievements, even if you don't care about gamer score or completions in general, it's hard for me to think that how has there not been a game that you really, really care about and are really, really into, and you just want to get everything you can out of that game, and getting all the achievements is part of that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe people aren't as obsessed with completing everything as me, but
No, they're not. I can pretty safely say
at
that
least
no, they're
completing
not.
a thing. That's the other thing. Is like
certainly
like a thing, not everything, but a thing.
Absolutely, it would be something. But I mean, until I really focused on Assassin's Creed and say Dead Rising, even I didn't. There wasn't anything I particularly focused on to get all of the achievements. I probably had completions, but I don't think there was something that I said, yeah, all right, I'm going to go back to these titles that I've already completed. Yeah. Completed in air quotes, and go back and do all of the optional stuff and get that out of the way, because that's just a cool thing to do, because I really like that series, and having that little checkbox against my name just feels good.
Right.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 1.
I was just going to say, I don't think there's an how did you figure that out? Because I don't think there's an easy way.
So you go to My Games.
Right.
On TA, and then you go to it should be sorted by in the timing in which you played that game, and just click on the very last page. So if I click on page 5, the third...
You can also click on your completed games on your homepage and go to the last tab and see the first one there. But the only thing is, the way TA tracks things, when you sign up, all of the offline achievements you had in that game will count as being unlocked the day you signed up.
Yeah.
So although Saints Row was my first completion, TA thinks I completed it on February 7th, 2012, which is not true. I completed it on... Let me see when I completed it.
Yeah, and like mine's a little different too, because like I completed the base game in Elder Scrolls Oblivion, but I bought Shivering Isles like 3 years after I completed it and finally finished that. So it is at a different time.
But did you buy the horse armor?
Afraid not. I did not.
So that's not a full completion. Is all I'm saying.
I was anti DLC back in that day.
Did not have achievements.
No, it did not.
Hey,
No.
how about that? My very first completion, like according to TA anyway, was Portal, still alive.
Look at that.
Oh,
and we
look
should.
at that. Nice.
I don't want to forget that Big L also mentioned that he goes by what Xbox itself says, that a game 1,000 out of 1,500 gamer score, not a completion.
Who cares what he thinks?
Who does care? Well, he has a question for me. I was curious if I should put this in zombie news or just answer his question as part of feedback. But he wanted to know, when did my love of zombies begin, and how did it start? And he said,
I've often wondered how you can be into zombies but not be into horror or scares or anything.
Yeah, because that's exactly the follow up to his question: is how are you such a fan of zombies but you hate to be scared? And here's where it is. Because it's true, it's very true, and I don't really care for scary movies, scary shows. I'm intrigued by them because I like to think of how some twisted people can come up with this really crazy, sense of the world, and it's like, should I be worried about you that you came up with this concept? Because that's pretty terrifying.
A rain cloud.
So yeah. And I'm gonna say it was and this is where I think it spawned from, was the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, I love that.
Okay,
that's a movie I actually saw.
I did too, obviously, and so I saw it in theaters, and I liked it. I really liked it. It was cool, and I kind of went back and to say, I was like, I should look at, the older ones and follow Romero's idea behind zombies, and started to watch more of those old zombie movies. And Romero's concept of his zombie movies was always, it was never the zombies that were the biggest threat. It was always, and he had some sort of altruistic, the Dawn of the Dead was all about commercialism and the rampant growth of malls and people thinking that's they travel to the mall thinking they're going to be safe, and it's just, whatever. Or in Night of the Living Dead, where it's the undertones of racism, and it just, so he always had a social commentary with his zombie things. And I was always thinking, because I was so sick of maybe it was before this, because I remember having these thoughts in high school too, I guess, and that was in '99 when I graduated high school. But it was always like, I think if we lived in a world, this is kind of a thought experiment. If we lived in a world where humanity was not the apex predator, right? Now, and granted, bears are much better predators than we are, but we're smarter than bears and we can hunt them and kill them. Now, if we lived in a world where we had zombies, and I'm not saying to the point of where we were overrun, 1 million of zombies to one, but if you had
like a Dead Rising situation.
Kind of. Well, even then, I was even thinking like there was one zombie for every 10 people, right? So 10% of the population are zombies that still can, if they bite you and infect you and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's not like it's debilitating to our functionality as a society, but you'd have a weapon when you walked around outside. You'd be like, I go to the grocery store. Oh, don't forget to bring your your pistol or your machete, because if you see a zombie, you're gonna have to take care of it. Or you think about what would traffic be like? Well, you have all your freeways. You'd have to have giant retaining walls, or at least sturdy retaining walls, because you can't just have a zombie wandering across the highway during rush hour. I mean, that's a serious accident ready to happen. Or what would your house look like? You should probably put your house elevated with a spiral staircase. Because that's so zombies can't just climb up and attack you while you're sleeping, right? So I always had these thought experiments.
Yes and no. I think you sort of think about it on that level. You're talking about there are animals out there that are pests. There are animals that will run out on roads. There are animals that will get into your house. But yet we don't build our houses on stilts and we don't put up barricades to stop them. They are localized. I would say if there's a 1 in 10, one zombie for every 9 humans, those zombies are going to be in packs and localized to areas, and you're probably going to try and barricade and siphon off those areas, but you're not really going to change the rest of society to suit, because zombies will be so rare in some areas, there's just no point.
Well, it's because
animals are not actively trying to eat humans.
Hang on, though. Let's also talk about the fact that zombies are a self-defeating enemy. In the fact that if you are surrounded by a pack of zombies and you get pushed over, and one zombie bites your leg, depending on which type of zombie you're considered, it may take a minute, an hour, a day for you to turn, but presumably you're going to get consumed by the rest of those zombies. So there are actually going to be less zombies per zombie than more zombies per zombie, if that makes sense. They're actually a self-defeating enemy that make actually no sense in the real world. There's no possible way they would ever overrun the general population, because
zombies are pretty dumb. Yeah.
but
if zombies just didn't eat people, that would be actually a much more effective enemy.
Yes.
If all they did was just bite and move on.
Exactly. But no, they're trying to actively eat you, and if they succeed, you don't turn into a zombie. And if they fail, they're just another person to eat some other zombie or other human. They're not a very successful organism anyway.
That's why there's only one for every 10 humans. but also, I mean, I think of in this scenario where if somebody dies of natural causes, or they have a heart attack, or they do then they come back as a zombie, and so all of a sudden it's like you didn't think you had a zombie in your house, but your grandpa died in the middle of the middle of the night, and now you do. Right? So that changes the way you think about your house. And you're probably right. We would have settlements where they would be like strongholds. You'd have walls around it, and you'd keep the zombies outside. You'd have patrols walking around. Your police, right, effectively would be walking around taking care of any zombies that wandered into neighborhoods. Right, you'd have constant patrols. Anyway. So that is really where the basis of my fascination from zombies comes. Is that it creates a thought experiment with which you have to come up with a world. How does the world work with the presence of a predator that's actively trying to attack humans? Right. I mean, like I mentioned, there are bears, but they're not. They're out there trying to eat our food, not necessarily eat us.
I hear they're trying to invade our schools, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
So that is really the basis for zombies. And so, like, watching those old zombie movies, like, I'll laugh at the gore. I'll laugh at, some of those things. But I really don't like jump scares. Like, and Dawn of the Dead had a few. I just don't care for that. I feel like that's a cheap scare. And as far
I feel that I agree. They are a cheap scare, but I also feel that they're a valid part of the repertoire of what is horror. I
agree.
think if a movie just uses jump scares and that's their entirety of horror, that's not a good
pretty
movie.
weak.
And it's also like the game Emily Wants to Play. That entire game is jump scares. The entire that's the entire hook of the game, and that kind of makes it a fairly weak horror in that sense, because after a while you just get immune to the jump scares. You know what's going to come, and you know exactly how it's going to happen, and they cease to be surprising. The really good horror is the one that plays on your psychology and makes you think. And it's the kind of, you turn off all the lights and your imagination makes the dark horrible. It's that kind of horror that I really enjoy. But I think a jump scare can be a good part of that if it's used effectively. But it is overused.
Doom 3 did such a good job of that, where they had jump scares. Like there were a good number of jump scares in that game, but there were so many other aspects of like trick jump scares, like where you would turn a corner and you're like, oh, I know there's one in there. Nope.
And there's not.
And then you're like, okay, well then he's going to be on the floor. Nope. And then you're like, okay, we're safe.
Well, I mean,
like 30 seconds later, you're like, oh, there it is.
the whole concept of Slenderman is essentially that, right? He is a jump scare in a lot of ways, but he's so unpredictable that you cannot. You don't know where he's coming from. So that's why he's such a compelling kind of horror figure.
Well, compelling is debatable with Slenderman.
But yeah, I mean, to that point, like I was just listening to your review of Silvio from last episode, and you talked about the atmosphere that creates and the horror, essence that. There's no jump scares. There's none of that.
Yeah,
but
the
creates,
entire game, not a single jump scare in that game.
Creates the atmosphere of is there one? Should I expect one? Like, I don't. Yeah. I feel kind of always looking over your shoulder, feeling uneasy. Those are effective. I even remember playing Resident Evil 4, like you said. Headphones on, dark room, lights, everything dark, just you, the controller, and the TV, and thinking did I lock the front door? I mean, this is a video game though, right? Like, zombies aren't real, right? Like, trying to convince yourself of the horrible things that exist outside of your room, like, that's all made up, right? And those, sure. I mean, it's super effective.
Keep telling yourself that,
right? So there we have it. That's me and zombies. I still love them. They're great.
But the thing is, would you get enjoyment out of a game such as Silvio that has that kind of psychological horror aspect to it, but there is no jump scares per se, but it really is just the oppressive atmosphere of it is what drives you forward.
It's funny because, I knew it was a horror game, and so I wrote it off, and I'm like, not for me. And when you did the review and said, not a single jump scare, I thought, really? Huh. Okay, then. And that completely changed my perspective on that. Now, I'm still not sure I will participate, but it certainly has changed my thoughts on it that, maybe I will. We'll see. Cool.
The next step will be Layers of Fear will be the next one.
Well, and I know that has jump scares, so not happening.
Yeah. But that also has a very good oppressive atmosphere. It's not all jump scares. It just mucks with your sense of space and time as well, because you walk into a room and turn around and the door's not there, and then you turn back around and the entire room has changed whilst you've just turned around. It's that kind of messing with your mind kind of concept. Anyway.
And that's the other thing too. Is I like to watch pieces of horror movies or watch somebody else play Emily Wants to Play, those jump scare games. And it's like I kind of project myself into that and I get a semblance of that sensation of being scared, but I don't get that full intense payoff that, people are wanting in those types of games, which it's kind of like putting up a wall between me and what really scares me, or, I don't know. I don't know why, because I constantly seek out things that are disturbing and creepy. Like when the whole Slenderman thing, we'll go back to Slenderman. When that whole thing started, I was like, I should do some research on this and just kind of learn about it. And I became really fascinated with the fact that the internet created some sort of, horror icon and like perpetuated these stories. And I remember watching the movie The Ring, the first one, and thought like that did a really cool job of like just doing creepy things and thinking, there was always the other one thing that bothered me was like when ghosts could affect real life beings, right? So like if there was a ghost, something that was hunting you or attacking you, what are you going to do? How exactly are you going to survive a ghost that A, never sleeps, B, is not confined to walls and can go anywhere, and C, you can't do anything to them, but they can do things to you? Like, I would kill myself. I'm dead.
They were cheaters. That's cheating. It doesn't work.
It's a standby mode. Yeah.
But
get the vacuum. I've seen Luigi take care of it.
That's kind of the horror aspect of that, though, is that it's just helpless.
I think so. That's part of it. I think another thing, I actually really particularly like supernatural horror. But I think the thing that I find really effective about that is not being able to understand the motives behind why these things are doing what they're doing. Like why a ghost is choosing to interact with you in a certain way. They've got some kind of motive, but it is unfathomable to me. And I guess that's sort of the to go into kind of Lovecraft kind of thing. It's that eldritch horror. Sure. There's something that's out there which has some unfathomable reason or rationale for what it's doing that I can never really fully understand, but I have to deal with the consequences of what it's doing anyway. And that I find that really effective as a horror trope. So
yeah, I have two comments. I'll bring it back to video games, I promise, right here. One of my all-time favorite horror movies was The Thing. I
love The Thing.
Right? The snow base. What's the dude's name?
John Carpenter?
Yeah, he's the author, the main actor, one of the Big Trouble in Little China guy. Oh, how can I not remember his name? Kurt Russell. Yep. And being stranded in this ice research facility with a creature that assumes the likeness of other people, and just thinking of trying to figure out, okay, who's the thing? What is it? It could be any one of us. And you create these scenarios, and then of course they do have horror elements, like when they're doing the body thing and they're trying to resurrect that guy with the paddles, the electric paddles. Oh my God, I love that scene. And the movie's made in 1970, so I'm gonna say it, and I hope it doesn't ruin it for you, but he takes the electric paddles and tries to revive this guy, rubs the paddles together, clear, boom, right? And he hits the dude's chest, rubs him back together, does it again, goes to do it the second time or third time, I don't remember which one, punches a hole right through his chest, so he's wrist deep into this dude's rib cage, and then the ribs turn into like teeth and bite his arms off, and he pulls his arms out and has bloody stumps now, screaming because the rib cage thing ate his hands. Oh my God, it's so good.
And the other thing too is, even though it was made in the 70s, like, that movie holds up extremely well.
It super holds up. Because they use so much physical.
It still obviously looks bad compared to today's standards, but like, for a movie made in the 70s, like, it's because they use practical effects. Like, that's what I love. Good practical effects.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Now, bringing this back to video games.
And it features Wilford Brimley.
Bringing this back to video games, the release, the media embargo for Prey has come up this week. And so Twitter has been abuzz with all Prey all the time. And I watch gameplay of Prey, and I think that's like the thing. That's like, anything can be these like black cloud monsters or whatever. They can turn into whatever. You can turn into whatever. And you play this weird psychological mind game of like, is that Cherith? Is that chair going to come and attack me? I better boot it. Okay, no, it's not. What about that garbage can? Oh no. What about
there actually was The Thing game for Xbox. The original Xbox.
Super old.
No.
But
Well,
have you watched any gameplay or any of the media stuff on Prey, the new Prey that's coming
I don't
out?
care about Prey. I can't get past that they're calling that game Prey.
I'm totally on board with it.
Do you have such an attachment to the original Prey?
No, but it's dumb. It's using something to try and bring in a few more people that were interested in Prey 2.
How many Prey
how dare they reboot something?
How many
that
Prey
wasn't
Super
that great in the first place?
It does not resemble the original Prey in any way whatsoever, other than the name.
But how many people do you know have any?
How do you know if you haven't watched any of them? Anyway.
Like
There were lots of people that were interested in Prey 2.
But do you know any of them?
No, because
I don't either. I don't know anybody that cares about Prey.
To be honest, though, like, I've never played Prey, but this looks, I mean, from everything I've heard, there's very little connecting any of those games together. This effectively is a standalone game named Prey for me. Like, because I haven't...
It's not related to the original at all.
And so why is that a problem? I don't think they're trying to pass it off as Prey or a sequel to Prey. They just really like the name and came up with this awesome game to go along with it.
No.
Fine. What if it's called Yerp?
I think...
Would you play it if it was called Yerp?
Yep. I think they probably originally were trying to do the new Prey, and then they decided, it's not working, and just went off on their own thing, and it still retained the name, and it's just a different game now.
I guess the other piece of what bothers me is that Prey 2 was a thing for quite a long time and was far enough in development that I think it was almost done. And it was kind of one of those like vaporware type games that they kept, trying to cling on to, and then eventually it,
Scalebound
Space Trek.
Klingon. You can't just say Klingon and not expect the same.
Space Wars.
Well, Space Trek's free with gold now.
Klingons come from Endor.
Don't listen to Randy. Star Wars Force Unleashed is free games with gold now. But anyways, keep going.
Space Trek.
Yeah, the Klingons from Endor.
Oh my God, Endor? Are you kidding me?
You're right. No, you're right. You're right.
The moon from a jungle planet.
The moon of Endor. The moon of Endor. I'm sorry. That was
again. Yeah. This is 2 episodes in a row.
Whatever. I'm not gonna start.
That was my fault.
Anyways, I don't think I know anybody
that not intentional.
I don't think I know anybody that cares anything about Prey. And maybe I'm biased because I just don't know anybody. But let's
ask our listeners.
Yeah, does anybody care about Prey?
If you're bothered about
the question, do you care about the original Prey and are bothered by the new Prey not being like the original Prey?
Yeah.
All right. So Randy's side, I'll ask the other two because Damien left with the baby. Have you guys watched any of the new Prey media footage and stuff that's been out? Are you interested at all in this Prey game that's coming out? Because what I'm hearing is it's like Dead Space, it's like BioShock, like if they had a baby. Sounds awesome.
Well, I generally try and just avoid most game trailers and hype before a game has come out. I'd rather wait for the reviews, so I haven't really been paying much attention to Prey.
Wouldn't a combination of BioShock and Dead Space basically just be System Shock?
They have been claiming it's System Shock too.
You can't. I think that's. No, you can't compare BioShock with its predecessor. I feel like that's.
Well, BioShock. Well, but I don't know. BioShock kind of removed that like spacey element.
Well, no, it did, but I just feel like then you're going backwards, which is you're doing like a topsy-turvy kind of thing.
Yeah, I know, but that's what's weird is like you put those things together and it just makes me think of System Shock.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I don't.
And I've heard comparisons to System Shock too. They've made comparisons to that.
System Shock did inspire both Dead Space and BioShock.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. Like,
makes sense.
It's weird to like loop back around to it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't care either way. Honestly, I don't like. Prey could come out to be the best game ever, and that would be great. And I'll get it and I'll play it. I just don't know that anybody's upset about the fact that it's not, you defiled my original version of Prey. What are you doing? Like, I don't know anybody that's up in arms about this game.
You
defiled this mediocre game from the past
from
that never got a sequel. Oh, God, no. Yeah.
Now, you guys know I wave my cane and picking my nostalgia glasses on a regular basis. So we'll see. If it's really good like BioShock, I might give it a try when it's $20.
Well, that's a bit of an ask, isn't it? As long as it's as good as BioShock, I'll get it. Right.
Yeah. As long as it's one of the top 10 games of all time.
Not setting too high a bar there or anything like that.
No big deal.
It might persuade me to lower my cane a little bit.
Brilliant.
Let somebody step a foot on my lawn.
So that was like, I don't know. It was like discussion segment, feedback. I mean, we did pretty much everything in there. Do we even have like regular news? Pretty slow news week as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
what do you got for me, Randy?
I got some news from who are they? Reef Entertainment. I tweeted them because I was interested in the Rambo video game, which is
this has been a burning question for a lot of people. This one, people have been waiting for this for so long.
It matters to me a lot.
Just like the Prey sequel, the Rambo DLC has been first and foremost in the news for so long, and people just need to know the answer.
We're sick of it, honestly. Can you give us a clear answer at this point?
But it's really funny, though. The Rambo
we talk about it every episode.
The Rambo DLC is a really funny thing because Rambo came out 3 years ago or something. The Rambo game was
February 20th. It's going to celebrate its 3-year birthday on Sunday.
Wow, that was weirdly close.
Oh, my birthday as well. Just no big deal, But
same birthday as Rambo the game.
I do have the same birthday as Rambo.
Hang on, which one came first?
That's what she said.
So yeah, Rambo the game, really bad rail shooter. The trailer is amazing. They have this one trailer. I don't know. I'll have to dig it out if we're going to put it in the show notes. But it shows this scene with a helicopter flying across like a desert or something. And the helicopter kind of makes this little dip and it actually goes through the ground. Like it goes into the ground like halfway and then just comes back up. And as soon as I saw that trailer, I was sold. Like, this is fantastic. And the game, from all reports, does not disappoint. But so I don't know. They announced the DLC like a few months after it came out. They're like, we're working on this DLC. It's going to come out. Then it just went silent for.
It's on the achievement list. Baker team right there.
Just wait. That comes up in the story. So then, like 18 months later or something, the achievements show up on TA for Baker team. Thinking, like, first of all, it's bizarre that these are showing up 18 months later, and second, nobody has heard from the company in 18 months. So they've been completely silent. Then, like, another year goes by. So obviously everyone assumes this is not coming out. And then they announce Rambo DLC coming out for free. And this DLC, the Baker Team DLC, is coming out for free. And everyone's like, what? What? Like, where is this coming from? This game's like 2.5 years old now.
Due to popular demand.
Yeah, so it did come out on PlayStation. The Rambo DLC did come out on PlayStation.
Another Sony exclusive. Typical.
Yeah. And they didn't mention anything for Xbox, but the achievements were there. So I mean, everyone assumed that it was coming to Xbox as well. They had responded to one tweet at some point saying, yeah, they're working on it. It had some issues or something. And so I hadn't heard anything for a while, so I thought, I'll send them a tweet. I see they tweet once in a while. They responded to me in like 45 seconds. It was ridiculous. It's like they were just waiting. So I asked them if it was coming out for Xbox, and unfortunately, they ran into some issues that could not be resolved. It has been officially canceled, which means cannot complete Rambo the game.
So
you're never going to experience it, Randy.
Well,
it's such a shame.
I'll probably play it on another tag. I mean, it's kind of.
We should find the one-tracked gamer who has completed Baker Team and ask him how he did it.
I'm going to take a guess that it's probably been cheated.
Or better yet,
Just going to take a guess.
we should find the person behind the Rambo Twitter and talk to them about what exactly those problems they were that they had to run into.
You know, honestly, we could probably tweet them. They'd respond in 45 seconds. We're on the show right now.
In the show.
I wonder if the problems are, it just didn't sell well enough.
Yeah.
Well, it was free DLC. Well, they're working on a new game. They're Terminators.
Oh, good. Oh, good. All right.
just what we needed.
Yep. So, yeah. That's Rambo DLC officially canned. The long story. I don't know. I wanted to talk about it just because it's so bizarre. Like, it's just. It's just the whole thing is weird. The game is weird. Like, it was released in North America on PlayStation, but not on Xbox. But it was on Xbox digitally or something. Just a really weird game, and it would just go silent like for months and months on end, and then just we're still here.
Yeah,
just waiting for some funding to come through.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What do you got here for me, Tarragon?
Yeah, well, there was a feature back on the 360 where for quite some time you could go and if you happened to have a game that you had started but hadn't gotten any achievements on, you could delete it from your profile. Very nice feature. People loved it because it means, so that actually, it wasn't with the original 360. They brought it out as a feature. It was added to the set. People could go in and just remove games from their profile. It didn't show up in their list. Great. That went away with the Xbox One. And it's been a highly requested feature. It's on user voice. It's got many, many votes up and so forth. So I just noticed this on this week. Mikey Kelso actually sent a tweet to Mike Ibarra about it, basically just asking whether or not this feature was coming out. Is it going to be coming soon? Pretty please, etc. And Mike Ibarra responded and said it's on a list I've seen from the team, which is like, okay, that basically confirms it is in the works at some point. So that's good that we're getting confirmation that we will be able to remove 0 pointers from our profile eventually. But just going on a bit further, and I thought this was interesting. Another person asked, Robert Stevens asked, not criticizing you, Mike, or the team, but this kind of stuff was on 360 years ago. What's the deal here? And Mike Ibarra said, well, we rewrote the back end of achievements with the one, so simple things like this are complex. I know it's not ideal. So it was just sort of an interesting insight, I think, a little bit to A, one, they're working on that and it's something they want to have, and B, with the rewrite of the achievement system, things that we have already for the 360 may not be as simple as just going, well, why don't you put it on there? We already had it for the one, because everything's changed. So that was all.
So they don't have the harmonics amnesia syndrome?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, hang on. Let's. This is interesting because why do I don't know. I feel like my gamer card, my played games, everything I've done is a reflection of what I've done. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not upset.
Some people just really didn't like having those games that they tried out and didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah. Then do it on a different tag, you know? Like, I'm okay with
I guess that just wasn't a thing. But
I don't know, but it's easy to just like pop
in fact,
it's a game or like
it's actually easy for it to happen accidentally.
Well,
I
mean, I know. Okay, all right, that's fine.
Two profiles.
I like them there.
A lot of the time, it was two people signed in on the Xbox. One person plays the game, but the other person gets it on their account because they just happen to be signed in, not even playing. So that would be a lot of accidental ones like that. Demos and things like that would get on there. There's a lot of sort of trash that people like to clean up for whatever reason. I personally, it doesn't really bother me, but you know what I'm like.
We do know what you're like. So Randy, I'm kind of the same way. I don't know. Let me just throw this out there. You know those achievements that are 0 pointers?
Yeah.
Keep your eye out for those. We got some fun things that we're working on for that. But
I've got lots.
You got lots of those ready? A lot of apps.
Cameo.
Oh, perfect. Randy, do you actually have an Elite controller?
No.
You just have a theory about Elite controllers. I got my Elite controller. I like it.
Now, I did get to check out Prue's Elite controller, though, and this is where the theory came from. So
is the theory that if you put it into an oven, it's not good for it? Is that? I'm just.
I did get.
I can confirm that theory. I can
controller.
I think we need to test it a few more times.
So, I've noticed a lot of people complain about stick drift with the Elite controller way more than normal controllers.
Maka just posted on Twitter that his is falling apart.
That's actually what prompted me to think this is that it was just a reminder, because I was thinking that when Prue mentioned to me that he doesn't use his anymore because the sticks drift. And this is all when did they come out? A year ago? Are any more than a year old?
I literally got mine for Christmas last year. So just over about 14 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like they die in less than a year. Like something goes wrong. Either the back peels off or the stick starts to drift really bad. But even my really beat up Xbox One controller that I have doesn't really drift. And then when I picked up the Elite controller and started kind of playing around with it, I noticed the sticks were weighted. So my thinking is they use the same cheap internals on the Elite controller that they use on the normal controllers, which they do. You can see it in a teardown, at least for the sticks. They're the same. You can't replace them. And because the sticks are weighted, that drifting that inevitably happens over time when the things get looser is amplified because the sticks have weight to them. So, I mean,
it's an interesting theory, actually, because the normal drift that you would get from a regular controller, simply because the stick is heavier, is it's affected by gravity more, which means that it will move into those drift zones more readily.
Because a normal controller, the sticks are effectively weightless. I mean, they don't really have enough.
I know. I've got
to make any difference.
That's true. I have to keep holding my controllers down.
Yeah, and really the drift is going to come. Oh, I see what you're
there it is.
So it's like, those aren't really affecting the sticks. The sticks just wear out, and then they just kind of sit in whatever last position they were in a little bit. So when you add that weight, they start drifting more and more, and it's really noticeable. Where the normal stick, if it drifts a little, you just kind of move it, and it's fine. It's not really a problem. So I just think it's interesting, because my thought when the Elite came out is like, that's really cool, and they look really nice, and they probably are really nice, but I need this to last me at least 3 times as long as a normal controller to pay the price that they're asking, which I still think is outrageous. So by the sounds of things, they are less durable than normal controllers, which that seems like a bad
I think at least as far as the stick goes, if your theory is true, they're actually just as durable as regular controllers. It's just that they are more inclined to be affected by the drift simply because of their weighting. Yeah.
They're less durable in that you can't deal with it. Like, you can't take the sticks off and replace them with normal ones. And, fix the drift, have cheaper sticks, and then use the rest of the high-end controller.
Yeah, well, that would be a nice feature of, say, the Elite Controller 2 would be to actually be able to remove those things completely and replace them when they wear out, because they are going to wear out.
And they always do.
And the sticks are pretty much the one thing on those controllers that are going to go first and start to drift, because that's just the nature of their mechanics. But being able to actually remove those and replace them would be ideal.
Yeah, just have something that's, snaps out, snaps in. I don't know. I mean...
Yeah. Or it's just like an unscrew thing or something like that. Something that's, it's not something that you would do by accident, but it's something that you can do as a maintenance thing.
And if that was something that was a feature of the Elite controller, I would seriously consider one, because that is a big problem. And I spend, over the life of a console, I spend a lot of money on replacing controllers because those things are so hard to replace. I mean, it's, I can fix little things and replace things on controllers, but sticks are just, there's so much work that it's just not worth doing. You just buy another controller, which is a pain. I don't want to.
I agree totally. Like, if you're going to pay half the price of a console for your controller, it should last. I mean, it should last 3 to 4 to 5 years. And I love the Elite controller. I really do. It's the most amazing controller I've experienced. On the other hand, I should not have to put it down for an inferior version of the controller because it just can't hold up. So it's
even if there was a maintenance cost, like if I had to replace those sticks every 9 months.
Well, look, if I could ring up Microsoft and say, "Hey, the sticks are drifting. Can you replace them for me?" and they go, "Yep, $25 to do that for you," and you get your controller back and it'll be fixed. That would be perfect, but that's not really part of the way that it's designed.
Yeah.
Now, my thing with that is like you send it in, you're probably not going to get the same controller. Because usually when they do that, they just swap it for another one. I don't like that. I mean,
well, they do that for speed. They do that for speed. They could do the same controller. It's just that it would take them about 4 or 5 weeks longer because they've got to do the actual repair work.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It'd be nice if it was something you could do that you could just go to the store, or even if you had to order it from Microsoft and have them ship it to you for $25. It's you just need a screwdriver, take it out, put it in, good to go.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
This is version 1 of the controller, so perhaps version 2 will be like that. Certainly, the rubber, the grip coming off, that is certainly a problem that's been plaguing it. I mean, it's obviously it only affects a small amount of people, but it certainly affects enough people that it's definitely a minor design flaw in the way that's all put together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But these things were bound to come out with a new controller.
Yeah,
and it's
just a shame they chose to launch at such an outrageous price point.
Yeah, yep.
For the first one that is still fairly good for what it is, but just
that's why you get people to gift them to you.
There you go.
They still pay for it.
Charge $100 for it, and that is fair. That's a great price, and it works, and you can do what you do.
Even if the first one was 100 and the second one was 150 after they got all the kinks out, like it's just kind of that first thing. Like that's a really high price point for something that is consistently breaking after. I mean, not breaking, but
wearing out more quicker than people expect it to. But the thing is that some of that stuff you can't possibly know until you've got it out in the market. To be fair to Microsoft, it's not something that they necessarily could have accounted for ahead of time. Perhaps they can deal with it a bit better in future. I don't know.
And I mean, and that's why saying, like the subsidized price for the first one is, that's not something they can know, but you could offer it at, or, like an upgrade program. I mean, and maybe they will do that and say, hey, you got a worn out Elite controller, we'll give you the Elite 2 for half price if you send us your old controller.
That'd be nice.
At least GameStop will probably do that.
The savior of
pre-owned
gaming.
Elite.
Yeah, no.
Man, the controllers I've gotten from GameStop are just wrecks.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I'm just poking fun at the pre-owned model. Anyway, shall we move on?
They just sell them as is for like $140.
Hey, did you guys play any video games this last week? Tarragon, you said you didn't. Did you do anything worth your time?
What are those?
What is this? You think this is like a video game podcast or something?
I mean, what we talked about so far has barely been video games.
Video games podcast.
Yeah, I've basically been enjoying Elite far too much this week, and that's been primarily where I've been spending all my time. But I did finish off Telltale Batman though, just yesterday as it happens.
Plan a review?
Good.
It's good.
Pretty good.
It's good.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep. Would play another.
Yeah, there you go.
It is actually after you get over the sort of the hump of the first half of the first episode where it's a bit slow. The rest of it's
there's humping in the first episode.
I told you.
No, I think that's episode 3 actually.
Oh, good one. Oh, good one. Play the game, you'll get that reference. Sorry.
So I would say actually it's probably the best of the Telltale games I've played.
Cool.
I would put it higher than having gone to replay The Walking Dead, the original, which was sort of the peak as far as it went the first time, and I would say it's better than that as far as the way the mechanics and everything works in it. Story wise, I think The Wolf Among Us, just because I really loved the Fable series, the Fable comics, the Wolf Among Us story was great as well. But yeah, as far as it goes, this is one of the top ones, and yeah. Just my opinion.
Fantastic. So that was it for you, huh? Prue, what did you do this week?
Well, I've mentioned already that I played some Portal 2 with Skeptical Mario, and I also played a couple of other games. I played NHL 2K6. That was my early week, easy 1K just to get my stuff done so I don't have to worry about anything else. I knew there was like stuff going on later on in the week. I got that done, no worries. Randy and I have started. We've moved on. We actually have evolved from Saints Row 4 into Gat Out of Hell, which is essentially
it manages to be worse. It's unreal. This is probably the laziest game I've ever played in my life.
It's okay. So to be fair, I thought it was an expansion from Saints Row 4. It's not.
Which it kind of is.
It is.
I mean, isn't. It should have been.
It is, but it's actually been released as a standalone game. So it's really tough to judge it on its own. And by the way, if you judge it on its own, it's terrible. It's just the same exact game.
Now keep in mind it was also released at $20.
It's okay.
So
well,
it
that's
was
fair.
not a $60 game.
So that's fair.
Its initial release was $20.
That's actually fair. It's the same. Like it's the same menu system, the same physics, the same engine. It's the same everything that you experience. The same exact models, everything that you've experienced.
Same storyboards.
It is the same storyboards. It's rough. I mean, it's not a game on its own.
It's like they made it in like 2 weekends.
Yeah, it's
a game jam.
They just took a bunch of it's like they took a bunch of the Saints Row assets and just like slapped this garbage together.
Yeah.
So I think the whole game has 3 to 4 cutscenes, and then the rest of them are just the storyboards. And even these cutscenes that it has, like half of them are storyboards again. It's just like a slideshow with voiceover. It does have one musical sequence. So maybe that's worth it. I don't know. So there's basically no main storyline at all. Like you just do a bunch of activities and then like a half cutscene plays. Then you go collect some more collectibles. And
don't they like overtly tell you like, yeah, we're literally just extending the life of this game by doing garbage like that?
That was in Saints Row 4.
Oh, okay.
This one makes fun of itself a little less. They added flying, which is kind of more annoying.
Here's the thing, right? This is not a full game. You should never play this game ever expecting a full game. It's actually really insulting to people who bought this game and thinking that this is like, oh no, I'll just go and I'm going to play this game. This is a game. No, it's not a game.
It's like Saints Row 4 without the main story.
Yep.
It's just the collectibles part.
It's actually it may be the cheapest, cashiest, grabbiest kind of easiest way to make money off of people experience. It's
cashiest in grabbiest.
Yes, I know. Yep.
It's the official term.
It makes a lot of sense. Anyways, look, I'm sure we'll talk about this later on.
So we've already talked about it. We plan on doing a shovelware cemetery on Saints Row 4 and Gat.
Hey, bringing it back, all right?
Yeah, that'll be the first new shovelware cemetery.
Hey, I can use the intro again. Yeah,
because I think it's really deserved on these games because they are truly bad and truly lazy.
They're so lazy.
Yeah,
I will totally agree that they're the most laziest games I've played.
So you're going to do the Australian stack as well?
Oh yeah, we're doing all of them.
Yeah.
I just want to see if that's even. I just want to see if that's even worse.
That's what I'm expecting because the 360 version was buggy, but it was okay. Like the achievements worked, most of the game worked. It wasn't that bad. Then the one version was even buggier, which I don't know how they did that. And then apparently the Australian version of the one version is even worse than the regular one version, which I don't even know how that's possible. I'm hoping it gets down to half a star. That's what I'm really hoping.
I suspect the Australian version just didn't get all the patches that the other versions got. And
I think that was the thing. Yeah, it did get a patch though. Because they did fix that achievement thing, which was really surprising. They did a patch in the first place that broke the achievement thing. That's true. Yeah.
So anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Prue, anything else that you played?
No, that's it. I will say that I'm moving towards the end of Skyrim still, and I'm hoping to still finish it by the end of this month. Fingers crossed. We'll see. It's a big game.
Just in time for Mass Effect.
It's
just
fine,
in time
really.
for
It's
Mass
fine.
Effect 2 Japanese.
It's fine, Prue. It's fine.
No big deal. No big deal.
What about you, Randy? What'd you do this week?
I had slowish in terms of number of games. I'm almost finished with Pit People, but I'm having a really hard time. I've done everything in Pit People now except for capturing a Gorgon. I have not encountered a single one in the whole rest of the game, and I'm not sure why, because I talked to Damien about it. He said that it's not an issue in his case. There's no mention of it anywhere, that people are having a hard time finding them. So I don't know. I'm going to have to go back to that. But
You have to believe, Crandy. They're mythical beings, but you have to believe in them.
They're like Medusa-looking things, right?
Yeah. and well, there was an update on Valentine's Day, so I haven't played it since then. So maybe that makes them more common. I don't know. We'll see. Prue, you did forget something. We played Grand Theft Auto 5, which has been a lot of fun. We're doing heists with myself and Prue and 2 others, and all of the miscellaneous online things. So we're having a lot of fun doing that. We struggle sometimes.
What, staying on task?
No,
just completing things.
Just completing things, because they don't really tell you, and if you haven't done it before, then it's kind of confusing. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Really enjoying GTA 5. It's a very, very, very well done representation of the Los Angeles area, and it's cool. Gimme 5. I've been working on. Man, that Get Everything on the Kudos Wall achievement is a bummer, because I'm like halfway done, and I'm done all the other achievements. Now the only 2 I have left involve getting kudos points, and I'm like probably 30 hours of gameplay time in.
I don't really understand why people actually started this game. It's like I looked at it and went,
I enjoyed it.
I thought all these people were picking it up because it was free, and I was like, what? No. People are paying money for this, and what? Why?
That's why I started it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for probably 10 hours or so. Now I've been macroing it since I finished all the stuff that I had my fun with it. It was just getting tedious, so I just started macroing it. So I leave it on before I go to bed.
You need to embrace that I've got enough out of the game. I can put it down.
Yeah, but I don't have to play anymore. I just push
put it down.
I just push a button on my computer, and then I get achievements when I wake up.
Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Then, the last one. So, UG-Task teammate here.
What, me?
And my other teammates have been bugging me. They're like, you gotta get the bonus this week. Gotta get the bonus this week.
Dude, we're so casual.
So you know what I had to play this week? I had to play Half-Life 2.
Oh, did you score the basket?
And not just Half-Life 2. I played my least favorite chapter of Half-Life 2. The one in the stupid boat.
Vortikov. Is that the one you got?
Terrible.
The singing thing.
Yeah, the singing Vorta whatever.
Yeah. So
God, I hate that level.
That was the chapter that I specifically. I think I stopped playing after that because it was just like, why? Like, this is just so bad. Like, it looks so bad. It was not fun. The controls were terrible, and it was just.
Come on, it's Half-Life 2. It's a classic. It's a genre-defining game. Come on.
You know what's funny?
You can't be critical.
Like, right after that part, there's that dune buggy section, and
Is it just as bad?
Well, it's pretty terrible, but I ended up crashing the buggy and had a save then after that where I literally saved it so that I could not beat that level because the buggy got destroyed and you need it for, to move on. And so, I was like, crap, well, I gotta go back.
Yeah, there was something funny about that. When I first played through that, I wasn't using a walkthrough or anything like that. And there was one point where you've got the buggy and you've got to use like a crane to lift it up over this fence.
That's
and then
exactly that same part.
Right. Well, the thing is, I couldn't work that bit out. So I just thought, oh, well, I just have to go on foot from here. And I literally went through to the end of that level, and I think I went through pretty much all of the rest of the next level.
How?
I'm just walking.
It's not possible.
It's a lot of walking.
You can't make the jump. You need the buggy to make the jump. There's like a broken bridge.
You need to use the jump to get the buggy over there, but you can actually walk around it.
No, don't you understand? This is the most significant first-person shooter of that generation. Don't you understand? There's nothing this game did wrong.
No, I
was able to continue, and I got through. And in fact, yeah, it was only until later I realized. I was like reading the walkthroughs, like what buggy? There is no buggy here. Why can't I get past this next bit?
That 2 levels ago?
What? I guess I'll start the game again.
Now, as bitter as I am about having to replay my least favorite level of so I will say the thing that I still am really, really bothered by the fact that you're just like when you interact with an object, like why couldn't they put arms? Like at least arms on the steering wheel or something. Like you grab a turret and it just floats. Like you don't even know you've taken control of it because you don't have any arms. You get in the buggy and like you look down and you're looking at the seat where you should be sitting and you're not there. That bothers me so much.
Yeah, but
I don't know
just
why.
Remember how old that game is.
It's not that old though.
Nope. That's not fair. It's not fair because there were other games doing the same thing where you could look down and see legs and walk around, and it was awesome. Yeah, but this was the most revolutionary game at the time. I'm sorry.
It's not old enough to make that. Even if it was a bad version of legs or arms or something, like at least it's there. At least it's trying. But no, it's just not. And it's not old enough that I can give it a pass. Yeah. But I will say, it's not quite as bad as I remember it. The buggy part was, but like the gunplay was okay. The gun sounds were good.
I think the only thing that really saved that game for me was the fact that you could turn on all of the cheats and still get the cheats.
Now let me say, I will definitely be doing that when I go back to clean up the orange box because I'm not having anything to do with that game being hard. But I thicken my nostalgia glasses a little bit because
they become a little bit less rose tinted.
No, that's what I've been saying. I thicken my nostalgia glasses when I do something nostalgic. It has that kind of like generation defining look of like an early mid 2000s shooter.
Oh yeah,
they all look the same. They all use the same textures. They all use like everything was the same, and it's like, yep, this reminds me of the original Xbox.
Like I half expected Alex to have those pointy polygon boobs.
Yeah, nice.
No, I think a lot of that is about. I think a lot of that's about the engines that were in use around the time. They define a lot of how the textures map and a lot of the way the physics works, and that's why a lot of it all looks the same or feels the same.
And that's been kind of my long-standing criticism of the Source engine is like it. You know, you release Left 4 Dead 2 in like 2011, 2012 ish. Like it looks like an early 2000 shooter because it's still using that same engine that hasn't been updated in forever. Like, yeah, they got a little better at it and made it look a little better, but like it looks dated.
Yeah, but I had so much more fun with Left 4 Dead than I did with Half-Life.
No, that's different because I agree. I agree that Left 4 Dead is much more fun than Half-Life. I've got lots to say about Left 4 Dead and why I think it's lazy, but
oh my gosh! Yes, I'm so glad you brought up Left 4 Dead. You got to look at this thing I found on Twitter here. It's a Left 4 Dead mod. I was going to put this in zombie news. It's a Left 4 Dead mod where they replace all the zombies with Zoidberg.
Wow, they actually made it look better, too.
It looks so good. And all of your characters are the Futurama people.
They should just put this texture on the whole game because it looks fantastic.
No, play the video because so you are the Futurama characters. You've got Fry, Leela, and I think the Professor. And then you are Bender. And so then when you're going around and you're shooting Zoidbergs. And when you
There's
turn
a
on
spotlight.
your flashlight, it's looking through Bender's face, essentially. He lights up his eyeballs, so you see Bender's face instead of the flashlight. Dude, it is so cool looking.
Why was Diddy Kong a special infected?
I don't know why.
don't know.
Diddy Kong was the hunter. Yeah.
You're shooting
That was
is
pretty
bad,
funny.
and you should feel bad. Oh man, that's awesome.
Hilarious.
Sorry, I saw that and I was just like, "This is so good."
Yeah. No, that's great. And yeah, I don't know what they did there, but that looks way better than regular Left 4 Dead.
Cool. Anything else there, Randy, that you played?
Nope,
That's
that was
about
it.
it? Nice.
Just complaining about Half-Life because
You know-
you guys made me go back to it.
And I didn't play much. So I did Quantum Break, right? That took most of my time, most of my gaming nights, and then of course Diablo on Monday. Finished Act 1 again. Titanfall on Thursday. Actually, I finished all of the map specific achievements. Right, getting 100 kills on War Games, 50 kills on Gravesite or whatever. So like that's all done. We're UKers. We're kind of getting here on the home stretch. You know, yeah, we got a lot of XP to grind out and gens, but we are singularly focused now. So you watch out. We're doing God's work. And it's again. Oh, and you know what? Saucy actually broadcast it on Twitch.
I popped in for a few minutes.
Yeah, we
there.
didn't get Beam to work, but we did get Twitch to work. And so if you want to see what all the fuss is about, you know, we can't promise everything's a gem, and it certainly is. There's some language involved, so you know, not for the kids, not for the faint of heart, but that does exist.
Not for iTunes.
Nope. And then I had mentioned the past couple of shows I needed help with Plants vs Zombies Garden Ops on the 360, and I had I set up a session on TA, and Mattism and Toby came to help. Unfortunately, Spinal Clerk, he could not make it, but Mattism, Doughboy, and I played Garden Ops. We beat normal just fine. We ended up playing, and I should have dropped it down to easy so that we could just whip through these, because we were trying to look for different boss waves. We did give an insane run a try, but that ultimately didn't happen. And all I was looking for was a Yeti. An actual Yeti. I didn't need the treasure Yeti, although I would take those diamonds any day. I was looking for a real Yeti, and finally, at 12:30 at night, I was like, I got to be done. I can't keep playing. I got to work in the morning. There it was, boss wave. One Yeti shows up with Baron von Bats and some other clown, the disco guy, and so I'm like, oh, okay. I'm focusing on the Yeti. Like, you guys all do your thing and whatever. And we got him down to like a fraction of life, and I ran out of bullets and it was like the only guy left. And the random that showed up, there's some jackwagon, stole my kill. Stole the Yeti kill. Obviously, he's not a party with us, so he didn't know. But Mattism and Doughboy just stood aside, and this clown came into my game, stole my kill. And so, still looking for help on Garden Ops. I might end up doing it by myself. You know,
Sounds
then
like GTA Online.
Set up a private match and just go to easy and do it by myself.
Just get killed.
But,
That's one thing that I did forget, though. I should have mentioned it with GTA. If anybody is boosting GTA right now, we can put a link in the show notes. I made a map that improves on the fastest active boosting method. It'll save you not a ton of time, but enough time to be worth playing that one instead of the other one. So it cuts out some of the unnecessary fat on the other active boosting map. So
Gotcha.
If you're double boxing, you're looking at more than 2,000 XP a minute.
Nice. Let's let me go into the competitions that we have going on right now. I'll regale you with all we're in the middle of the month of February, so there's plenty to do. Gamertag challenge, of course, Mattism and Posty You get 2 opportunities on those. The Mokas M. Surin's Overly Convoluted Achievement Spectacular from Poland with Love. Looking for Polish developers on that one. I'm going to do this War of Mine is my plan. I'm gonna start that game so I can get a Polish developer and qualify for a few little raffle bits on that one. We are also doing Love and Heart for the the community challenge for the month of February. I don't think I have anything for that lined up. Are you guys going to contribute to any of the contests this month?
I can't win anything. What's the point?
It's a motivation.
That's in my plans for the next week. Actually, is to take a bit of a closer look at the gamertag one.
Sure.
So I've been doing it. I missed last one, but I was doing them all up until that point.
Sure.
And Love and Hearts, I certainly should have a
something's got to pop up, right?
Yep. Yeah. But I have been actually paying close attention to the Mokas one because and I've actually gone and made a list of pretty much all of the games that I actually already have that qualify for this, and I'll be going through some Artifacts Monday games because they qualify. So
really?
If you've got any of those on you? Yep.
I didn't know
Artifacts Monday. Yep. So
I thought they were
probably
Danish.
Be seeing, no, it's they qualify as far as I'm aware, and that's I think pretty much why a lot of the people in the community have been playing these games this month is because of that particular contest. So yeah,
I suppose. And then random do list, of course. I'm going to do 2 birds with 1 stone tomorrow night, where I will be getting a random to do list unlock in Unmechanical Extended Edition.
Nice.
Now, unfortunately, that's a relatively easy completion, and I have to hold back to make sure I don't complete it because I need the odd score. So I have to, I think I have to go 2/3 through the game to get the random to-do list item. So taking that off of my list. And then finally, we were just talking about GTA SE. Bonus this week is pretty easy one, so hopefully you guys can all get it. All except, one of the teams, one of the ZZ teams that we're tracking, added with Elite Dangerous. No, Elite with Added
Elite
Dangerous.
with Added Dangerous. Yeah.
That one. Do we have who that is? Giant Hunger, Red Dragon Swords,
and some other non-Zed listeners, as far as I'm aware.
But what happened? What happened to them?
Red Dragon Swords, otherwise known as Going X-Well. He is played a lot of Elite, and he actually got the Triple Elite, which is the highest ratio, highest value achievement in that game. He got that a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately there have been a number of other people being added to TA that have been basically dropping the ratio because there's only 10 people who've unlocked it. But there's been people added that's been gradually pulling that ratio down, and so he's actually been suffering a lot of decay. And unfortunately, it was enough to bring the team down this last week.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's not fun at all. Well, too bad for them. Are they still in the individual, or did they not do the individual?
I
didn't bother.
Sure,
I didn't look at tracking that, but so sad. Sorry to see you go.
Yep, that's all right. I've already deleted that channel and wiped them off the face of the earth.
Good.
They're out of it. They're out of Discord.
They're dead.
Just gone.
Dead to us. Speaking of dead, let's move into Knobs and Discos, our home for unobtainable and discontinued achievements. Randy, what do we got here? Or Tarragon, I suppose. You're probably more appropriate.
Yeah, Tarragon's a little more active.
He's doing all the work.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't. Well, maybe you can take over and actually read them. I'll just put them there. You can read them, Crandy. All right. Well, Paladins, Champions of the Realm, which I think is one of those free-to-play games. I'm really not sure what it is, to be honest. But there's a achievement in that called Master Collector that has been broken since the latest patch came out, so it's discontinued for now. And Mafia 3. This is another patch-related one. No loose end has been broken since the last patch, and thank you to NBA Kirkland for that information. And that's about all we've got. It's a relatively quiet week as far as that goes.
Right. So why don't we go into Review Zed for the week? And Yeah, I don't know what to say.
It's Toby and the Secret Mine.
Toby and the Secret Mine. Very Limbo-esque. Well, let's see what you have to say with this.
So, this week on Review Zed, I'm back with my regular co-host. Hey, Randy.
Hey.
So, let us get started. So, we have Toby, the Secret Mine. This was developed by, I'm going to butcher it, Lucas, what's the last name?
Navratil,
and published by Head Up Games. This was released to Xbox One on January 20th with an Xbox Live store price of $9.99. I will comment, though, this week it's currently on sale for $7.99, but that depending on when you listen to this.
Yeah. Well, actually, it should have gone on sale the day before this gets published, so that should still be relevant, hopefully.
Okay. Hopefully. So, this game is a platformer where you are some kind of trollish thing. I don't know what you are.
You're Toby.
You're Toby. Whatever Toby is. Toby, and your village has... all your friends have been kidnapped from your village, and you must go off and save them.
And some other people from your village apparently tried to save them and then disappeared. So
or got captured. Who
now,
knows?
That's not explained anywhere in the game. That's actually taken from the Game Hub on Xbox One. So when you start the game, you're just thrown right in. You just go.
Yep. And it is... I would make the comparison to Inside and Limbo in that it is a no dialogue, no words, just straight platformer.
Just
now
play.
Just play. Now the things I liked about this game, I think the graphics were really well done. It was one of those not retro, it was modern, I would say hand drawn, just good, solid, nice frame rate, fluid. And same with the controls for a platformer. When I jumped. It was, no real glitching. I think
it wasn't like Volgar where the jumping was stupid. The jumping was very as you would expect it in a good platformer.
Yep. Now, I think the thing that's very unfortunate is the assessment is 2 to 3 hours completion. 3 hours is definitely pushing it. I would say 2 hour completion outside of one or two of your friends. You have to find 26 of your friends, and I think 23 of them are pretty much almost in plainish sight.
Yeah, and none of them are hard to get to either. And even the ones that are hidden, it's still pretty obvious once you find the first couple of them that are hidden. Usually there's kind of a gap in a wall or, a creaky floor or something like that you're going to notice. And then you say, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, it's one of my friends.
Yeah.
So the collectibles are not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but if that's probably going to be the only thing, if you don't use one of the kind of walkthroughs that tell you where the ones you're missing are, that's going to be the only reason this game takes you any longer. The two endings, once you figure out the bad guy, I know for me, the second time through, you literally just load the last chapter, and if you've just beaten the boss, you should be able to do it in 1 or 2 tries.
Yeah. This second time I loaded, I got it first try. I think the first attempt took 5 or 6 goes, so it's not bad. But the downside is there's not really any replay value.
No, go ahead.
It's kind of just a one-off thing. It's got the little bit of story, but unfortunately, there's not really anything to draw you back in. It's not particularly difficult for most of the game, which is a shame with the really good platforming mechanics, is they don't really have a chance to shine until the last 2 or 3 levels, and then the game's over.
Yeah,
where
I think the
middle of the game is mostly easy, and it gets almost kind of boring because there's not a lot of challenge to it. So you get changing settings that all do look very good, but the gameplay doesn't change a whole lot, and it doesn't really get much harder, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I think the last boss fight is probably the most challenging aspect, which, quite honestly, it almost feels like that could have been the start, and then just to build off that, because again, it still wasn't a very difficult end fight at all.
No,
you know, it just took a little more. Okay, I got to time and jump around the bombs. It really, that was like the only thing that would remind me very rudimentarily of like a Super Mario Brothers type platformer where you're trying to dodge enemies. Otherwise, what is odd is there is the achievement that's in the game for first 100 deaths, and I did get that achievement before the end of the game, and technically I didn't really try too hard.
Yeah, I definitely got that. There were a couple parts that were a little bit annoying, where it was kind of trial and error type. I wouldn't say puzzles. I mean, there were definitely some puzzles throughout the game, but the kind of trial and error sections, I racked up a lot of deaths really quickly. Fortunately, when you die, you start almost exactly where you were, and there's no big to do. You just kind of die and then load it up again. There's only a few seconds, so that was nice.
And very liberal with checkpoints. Very liberal.
Yeah, pretty much you make a jump, you get a checkpoint. So with a few exceptions, there are a few segments that are kind of, I want to say scripted is the wrong word, but kind of like a chase scene where, if you hit a checkpoint, you could get to a point where it'd be impossible. So those ones would always start you at the beginning. But other than that, very liberal with checkpoints.
So, I mean, for the price, unfortunately, just for how short the game is, $9.99. The game looks nice, but it's just really pricey for 2 hours and not a lot of replay. I mean, quick points if you're in the G task.
Oh,
it's very easy.
Very easy.
I don't really think you need to preload it.
No. Well, and if you did want to preload it, you could preload about 600 points that you could pop in, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, for the money, for gamer score, it's good. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed at the price. There was so much potential in it that either if it came down to being a $5 game, I'd be, it's fine for $5. Again, I'm disappointed because you knew from the controls and the solid and how it looked, wow, they could have done more with this.
Yeah, and it was really well done. I mean, I don't think I encountered any bugs. They looked gorgeous. It plays super well, but yeah, it just needed, all the mechanics were there. It just needed more use of them. So I think everything is good except the price. And like you said, if it was in the $5 range, I think that would be a better price range for it.
Yeah, I mean, pick it up on sale. It's again, you won't be again. I hate to say it's not a disappointment, but I think it will. It just leaves me wanting more. Yeah.
And especially where kind of the middle, where there's not a lot of difficulty, it ended up almost getting boring for, a half hour or so getting through those levels until you hit the part where the difficulty started to ramp up a bit and after the intro. So it would have been nice if maybe there could have been a few more challenging segments added in there. But yeah, get it on sale, or if you really want some points or need some points, definitely a good choice for that. So I'm going to have to say not quite in the recommend it tier, but it's definitely well made, but just a little short.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Until
we'll see you next week.
All right, so before we wrap up the show, I'm gonna give you guys a more reasonable zombie news corner. As cool as the Left 4 Dead video with the Futurama characters was, and it is. You should go take a look at it in our show notes. I'm not even trying. And of course, our zombie news correspondent SaucySlingo has sent me another link. Now, I found this as well, and so it's nice that we both collaboratively thought this was kind of cool. And it involves J.J. Abrams. Of course, he's the director who worked on the Cloverfield and the Star Wars or Star Trek. Ha, man, I wish Prue was here to hear that. Movies, then and of course, most recently, The Force Awakens. He is heading up with Bad Robot, the production company, making a World War II zombie movie. So we've seen World War II zombie movies before, right? Nazi zombies. I think Dead Snow is one of them. Anyway, this one is apparently called Overlord, and it involves an American paratrooper that lands just outside of Normandy, and their goal is to knock out German communications, and instead they run into Nazi zombie experiments and kind of sorts of weird stuff. Okay, so this article that he did is from Gizmodo. I found mine through Twitter. I don't remember who it linked to, but this Gizmodo one goes a little bit more in depth and starts to make this crazy conspiracy theory that this might actually be connected to the Cloverfield universe, and that this might actually be like the prequel or connected to the 2018 Cloverfield movie, and this is just kind of a red herring. I don't know. I'd like to think that there actually is a Nazi zombie movie coming out, but if it's not, I'll be okay. I'm sure. Now that being said, hopefully this, having J.J. Abrams and who's the writer here? Like, there's some pedigree here, right? And Bad Robot makes some pretty cool movies. So whatever they're working on with J.J. Abrams, be it zombie Nazis or another Cloverfield, I'm sure it's going to be cool. So I think that's about it. So I kind of already did the recap on the contest. I did it real quick. So, and of course, the end of the month is coming up. So I'll briefly go over kind of what my plans are for the month, like the rest of the week, because I don't know. I mean, just for posterity's sake, but I mean, it is crunch time for all the contests, and so like I have a few random to-do list things I'm targeting. I'm gonna do the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare thing. I'm gonna do Gears of War Judgment. Now, the nice thing is I'm doing all these crossovers. Like, so Gears of War Judgment is both a random to-do list, and I should get points in the Mokas from Poland with Love. Then another that Tarragon mentioned is Artifex Mundi. Apparently is a Polish studio. And so I can do Nightmares of the Deep, The Cursed Heart. So for that, I'll cover the monthly community challenge, Love and Heart, and From Poland with Love, right? Double dipping. So there's that. And then, of course, there's the gamer tag. And I'm missing an S, so I'm going to do State of Decay. T, This War of Mine, which is also a Polish studio. Crossover. I need an O. And I initially said I was going to do Ocean Horror, but I'm going to switch that to Omerta. I'm going to do that DLC. I'm going to try to get that completion. And then that'll probably carry over. I'll do a little bit this month, and I'll do a little bit next month when we do Freemhole. Yeah, my own gamer tag. So it's a nice mix of letters in there. So I'm going to do Omerta for both of them because there's that O. It'll be great. And then I need to do iZombie to get my eye. I'm just kind of bleeding that one out. Eventually I want to complete that before here. And then I did an A. And so I think I'm going to do Adventures of Pip. I had kind of identified that as for my completions challenge, Freemhole's completions challenge for the year, that the Adventures of Pip would be my pixel art game. And so I need to finish that this year. And so I might as well get a couple achievements knocked off this month. And then, of course, next month, right? Freemhole. There's an A in there. The other things, I guess I might as well mention what's coming up next month, because by the time this comes out, it'll be a week out, and we're going to be ramping up into the next round of contests. So you've got the Gamertag Challenge, of course, was my name, Freemhole, 10 letters, nothing special. The random to-do list checks over, so close out your list this month and get ready for on March 1st the new list. Remember, February only has 28 days, so it's truncated a little bit. There will be technically one other show released before that, but by that point, by the time you hear it, you've got no chance of catching up for this month. And I'll mention these again then. I don't know what the MOCOS is for March. He keeps me in the dark so I can participate, which is great. I'm totally cool with that. And, of course, I'm already planning this thing out, but March is March Effect in honor of Mass Effect. I know I saw Tarragon talking about it over in the XONEBROS forums, promoting this thing up. I know we're excited. I mean, I'm watching the footage for Andromeda, and it looks so cool. And so I'm really excited about getting into Mass Effect 1. We talked about it already in the show. I can't wait to dive into that. I'm sure it will be great. So I did the community contest roundup anyway. So that's what you can look forward to next month. I hope you enjoyed it. It should be super fun. I'm really excited about it. And now that right there, that is the official end of the episode. I want to thank everybody for listening, taking some time out of their day and playing our podcast. We really appreciate it. And hey, if you guys want to help out, a wonderful free way to help us is to submit a review, an iTunes review or a podcast review, wherever it is. Promote on social media. It's easy, it's free. Just tell your friends. We hope you enjoyed listening to us, and we hope your friends do too. We just want to have a great community, great fun, hour, 2 hours. Well, I don't think we've ever done an hour show. I guess maybe I would do one if I did one by myself. But, a couple hours, just, fill your ear hole. That sounds terrible. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, that would be a great help. You should go check out our website, zzed.com. It's got the stream there, but it's also got links to everything we talked about in the show. That Left 4 Dead mod that I mentioned. Oh, it's so cool. You got to take a look at it. There are also so many other ways to contact us. I mentioned them at the beginning of the show. I'll repeat them here. One of the best is our Twitter, @ZedTozed. We've got an email address, contact@zzed.com. You can reach private messages us all over. Xbox Live, we mentioned I'm Freemhole, zzUrbanSpaceman, Prue, you can get us through there. You can get us through trueachievements.com. Gamertags, same thing. XBLA, whatever. Or you can also go through our forums, forum.zzed.com, as well as our Discord chat. You can join in discord.me/Z2Z, all one word. Big thanks to the sites that help make this show possible: Libsyn, Discord, Trello, Twitter, Discourse, Zencaster, Skype, and TrueAchievements.com for providing so many awesome tools to help us do this. And a quick shout out to all you gaming sites out there, people on Twitter, Games Media, everybody who helps us create the content that we like to give you. It is wonderful. And of course, I can't forget about Microsoft and the fantastic Xbox console. So, on behalf of Damien, Prue, Randy, Tarragon, this has been Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next episode.